2,150 days or 51 days. I'm not sure. I'll figure that out later. But it's been a very long time since the Bulldogs last defeated the Penrith Panthers. It was round 19, 2019, I believe it was. It was a very long time ago. And, it's very exciting to see now that we're actually coming into this game as what I would call favorites. And I'm very, very interested to have a chat about the team that Seraldo has named, the team that the Panthers have named, and all the context coming into this game, as well as who the match officials are, what the weather's going to be like, and so, so much more. Welcome to everybody that's here. Dibbo is running a couple of minutes late. He will be joining us very, very soon, but I did not want to be late to anyone, so I thought I would join. Big hello to Rhett, Rayman, Eddie Abs, Norm, Maury. Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us nice and early. It's gonna be a very, very exciting episode today. But before I sort of wanted to kick off with the episode, I wanted to talk about the new jersey, the new 95 Heritage jersey. What did you guys think of it? As soon as I saw this jersey, I thought to myself, I absolutely need to buy this jersey. It looks great. It's got the retro styling. My favorite jersey is the 95 jersey. And I just thought it was fantastic. What were your thoughts on the jersey? I know that there were some people that weren't actually too convinced. Some people were saying it wasn't that nice. I personally love the jersey, and as I say, as soon as I could buy one, I went out and got it, bought. And the other thing is absolutely Eddie Abs saying the original jersey is the best. I agree. It is my favorite jersey ever, even more than the 04 jersey. Even though I do love the 04 jersey, I think that the 1995 jersey is just it stands out. Welcome to Doggy71, Peter G. Jamie Teasdale's been a member with us for 11 months. Welcome, Jamie. Always love having you on there. Very quickly, I want to quickly respond to a comment that Norm has made. Elmo, you need to go Turkey, Aki, with that hairline. Yeah, man. Maybe I'll go to Turkey with Bronson Cherry, given that he's going to go to apparently he's going to go to Turkey, get his hair done. But yeah, unfortunately, it is what it is. My hairline doesn't concern me even in the slightest, as long as the doggies are winning. Jamie Tisdale was saying that he's getting it for the Broncos jersey next week. I love it. Both these heritage jerseys are fire. Absolutely agree with you. I think that the team who is designing these jerseys and the sponsors that are willing to give up, their branding and their iconography and things like that, are doing a great job. It's absolutely great to see. Look, there are some changes from the 95 jersey, if you guys are familiar with the 95 jersey, but I still think it looks absolutely fantastic. I love it. Hello to you too, Brad Cambridge. He's screaming Queenslander. Dude, that was not an upset. That was a robbery. I had a bit of a rant on it, and I felt like I needed to make a point about it. Just the night of, but that was a robbery. Look, we can get into it. I'm happy to dedicate 10 minutes to Origin after we glaze this jersey a little bit more. But yeah, we'll get into that. I think Dibbo's waiting in the lounge to get in. Quickly, I'll bring him in.
G'day, everyone.
Good evening. Hey, Dibbo, how you doing?
Good, mate. How's your day? How's your week? Anticipating son playing dad this week. So,
do you know what? I'm so happy.
The Canterbury Panthers playing the Penrith Panthers. That's the headline.
I'm so happy we don't have any more buys. You don't understand how much I hate the bye week. Honestly, it's one of those things, like as a fan, it's like, all right, I have to watch all these other teams play. and then you sort of feel left out a little bit, which is it is what it is. But yeah, I'm glad we don't have any more buys for the year. I actually think this could be very good for the Bulldogs moving. But look, we'll talk about the draw. I think we'll talk about the draw moving a bit later. I'm still glazing it. Dibbo, what do you think? I'm going to stand up so you can see this jersey. What do you think of this jersey?
Oh, mate, that brings back some nostalgic memories. That brings back the Canterbury Bulldogs of the early to mid 90s. I think the last year they wore that jersey was 96 from memory. And what a great jersey that was. That was their best ever jersey, in my honest opinion, anyway.
I agree. I was saying before.
Their peak jersey with those blue shorts. It was, you know what? It was the right amount of white and the right amount of blue in one jersey. Yeah. And just symmetrical. The design was perfect. Look at it. It's design, obviously, it's wearing the black sleeves that kind of like ruins it, but you can imagine, Are they wearing that this week?
No. So this is going to be worn when they face Manly in Allianz Stadium as I think it's like commemoration match for 95.
Yeah, nice, very good. Hopefully the same result.
We were in it. Yeah, yeah. Look, absolutely. I think Manly are in a bit of a crisis. But I was saying before, I'm blown away by the work that the Bulldogs team and the sponsors have been doing on some of these jerseys. Like Eddie Abs mentioned it earlier. Credit to credit to Londi for willing to give up their branding and topography to make sure that it fit the theme. I think that's fantastic. They've been a great partner for the Bulldogs. And they do help the club a lot with their sponsorship, and it's a long running sponsorship. So that's great. That's great. Now we do have a big game coming up this week. The Dogs against the Panthers. I see it. The apprentice surpasses the master. The son overtakes the father. So many different discussions. So many different things that we can talk about. But because we've got some unholy Queenslanders in the discussion, right? What I'm gonna do is I have to, just for 5 minutes, I have to talk about this Origin game. I have to talk about this.
Are you going to grovel, or are you just going to go on a rage rant about the referee?
Neither. I just think that if any Queenslander truly believes that they won that game fair and square, and that they would have won had the clown not been on their side, they are delusional. They are absolutely delusional. I feel like that there's look, I'm not gonna say it's a conspiracy because I don't think it goes that deep. I just think that there's an inherent bias towards, number one, the Origin team or the Queensland team when they're losing. Like New South Wales never ever gets such support or such legs up ever. Like when we lost 8 years in a row, never was there an inherent bias towards New South Wales because we were losing. There was always, in fact, Queensland getting all the calls. It was always going against New South Wales. But the minute Queensland has a bit of a sook and Billy Slater comes out and makes a fool of himself in the media, old man Ashley Klein thinks that he has every right to sit there and blow 9-0 against the Blues. Again, when the penalties equalised in the second half, the Queenslanders couldn't get out of their own half. They were kicking out of their 30 most of the time, and they were ineffective. I understand that goal kicking definitely got to us. I 100% agree that goal kicking was the reason we lost. But they were 26-6 at halftime. Queensland was winning 26-6. If you want me to believe that Queensland were perfect, not good, not great, perfect.
Good point. They're offside the whole game, but it's what Holden Forever said, and welcome back, Holden Forever. It's not about the 8, it's about the 0.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great comment.
Can't believe we didn't get
You
at
know,
least 3 or 4 in that first half. They got a few that were made up penalties.
they were holding in the ruck. They were never square at marker. They were rushing off their line. There was a certain set where one of the boys who doesn't actually watch footy, I was watching it with a group of about 15 people, and there was someone pointed out, he's like, are they supposed to be taken back 15 meters? He was taking the Blues back 15 meters in some instances. I'm not sure what the situation was there,
Do you remember?
but
Yeah. Do you remember when
no, go ahead.
Loera got elbowed in the head by Lomax?
Yeah.
Tell me what led to that.
Because the Queenslanders for 25 minutes were holding the Blues down non-stop. And
He
they
held him
weren't getting
down
penalties.
for about, if you looked at it, it was probably heading towards 10 seconds, and the referee hadn't even blown a whistle or 6 again or told him to go off. Honestly, that elbow to the head was well warranted because that cheating scumbag was never going to call anything. That was not even a dominant tackle. Heading towards 10
That's the
seconds,
thing. And Lomax had found his
ridiculous.
front. Lomax had found his front, and he was according to the rules of the game,
Thank you, Norm.
allowed to get up. He was entitled to quick play the ball, or at least the quicker play the ball. But
Come on,
Queensland
Reece.
laid in the ruck. He laid in the ruck every single tackle. They laid in the ruck. How many shoulders did they drop? Kurt Capel. There were 2-3 instances where I thought this would have been a sin bin when they were doing the crackdown. Right? Oh look. All right. You want to penalize? You want to penalize the elbow? That's fine. You want to penalize the face scrub by Luai? That's fine. You want to penalize? But then he was giving them like the first try. It was off 2 penalties and 3 6 agains. We should have defended better. No doubt we should have defended better. But two penalties and 3 6 agains got the Queenslanders into the position where they could score. Second try, it was 2 penalties in a row. Got them into the position where they could score. And the Blues could not, no matter how hard they tried, build up any momentum. Any momentum. And, you know, it gets to a point where you sort of say to yourself, do I really want to watch this anymore? Like, it's a bit of a joke because when the Blues got even a little bit of fairness go their way in the second half, even though he still only caught he still only called 2 penalties for the Blues, right? When he did, right, it was ridiculous. The Blues absolutely blew the Queenslanders off the park, and we should have won. That should have been the greatest comeback in State of Origin history. That should have been, but unfortunately, New South Wales seems not to be able to kick goals. And you know, it doesn't help that 2 of our best players in Payne Haas and Nathan Cleary were injured the day of, like literally a couple of hours before the game, and they were playing with injuries. Yeah, it was just it's a little bit of a horror show, to be honest, from New South Wales. You know, and I think like this is an instance where Laurie Daly needs to be a little bit more of a man. I think Laurie Daly's being too diplomatic. He's forgotten what State of Origin's about. And he's trying to be the diplomat, not the coach. When your team gets robbed the way the Blues got robbed, when your team gets treated that badly, like the Blues were treated, I think you've got to take a stand as a coach and be willing to make some comments that will put you under some heat, but also show your players that you stick up for them and that you're willing to fight for them. I was disappointed in the comments. Oh, I'm not gonna say anything or whatever because you don't like, bro. Just say something. Don't be a pussy. Just say something. We all want you to say it. Everyone wants you to say it. Speak out on behalf of New South Wales. Do you know what I mean? Like, Billy Slater is a grub. Has always been a grub. Is Abu Grub. Is Grub. Has been a grub forever as a footy player. There've been multiple rules made and or rules changed because he's so much of a grub. And he wants to come out and use Paul Green's name in vain because he wants to have a sook that he didn't like the comments that were made. Honestly, it was pathetic. It was pathetic. Aaron Woods had it all over him. Had it all over him, bro. You know what? Aaron Woods, honestly, is a better commentator than he ever was a player, in my opinion. In my opinion, he's a better commentator than he ever was a player. And I said I wasn't going to rant, but I had to rant just a little bit because, I think it's pathetic. But I did think that overall, I thought that we did blow that game in the last 7 minutes. We had many opportunities to score, and we couldn't capitalize. They were offside every single time we were in their 20, but it is what it is. But yeah, I thought Luai had a good game, good second half, despite his very poor first half. But there is one point of discussion I want to have, and that's Max King. Um, Max King got the Jake Trbojevic treatment, where he played for 20 odd minutes and then didn't come back, which I thought was unfair.
I didn't understand how he played, the way he played King. I think King's mad off the bench, leaving there. The way he played King and the minutes he gave to Kamanu was just didn't seem like you let him get into their stride. You get me, or enough minutes, or whatever it was.
I don't think Yuto Ikamanu should be in the team. The bloke,
no, Kolomatangi,
Terrell May. I'm telling you, the bloke shouldn't have been there. I stand by that. You'd probably be better off having like Matt Burton in his place that can come on other than him, because he stood in the way. We could have scored a try. I don't know. I was quite disappointed, and we all said that he wasn't going to be that great, and we were right. Like Max King played 25 minutes. Yuto Ukamanu surprisingly only 27 minutes.
Eddie, it helps when your coach is pulling the strings. That's how he made the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Just quickly, I want to shout out Norm Eater. Has given us a $8 super chat. Yeah, absolutely legend. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mr.
I think this is the third week in a row. It means a lot to us, man. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate your all your support. But yeah, I think overall that was just such an ugly game. Obviously the intensity was a lot higher. I did call, and I did believe at halftime that if the Blues came out and played to their ability and the ref put the whistle away, we would win. Obviously we didn't win, but we should have won. We obviously should have won. And the other point as well is that people want to look to the 6 again argument. Look, 3 of the 6 agains that he gave the Blues were on first. So they had little to zero impact on the game. And I think the other thing that you guys need to realize is, and this has been happening for a very long time, the referees do a lot of stat padding. So they'll call penalties or 6 agains to make sure that it doesn't look too lopsided. So if you guys recall, years and years ago, the referees were caught out doing that. And so what they would do is they would ask their video ref through their microphone. They would use the phrase, "How's Trent?" Do you remember that, Dibbo? It was "How's Trent?" And what they would do is if the video ref would tell them what the penalties count was, and if they didn't think the penalty count seemed good enough, right? He would then obviously work to rectify that, because it doesn't look good that the penalty count's too lopsided. Who remembers that, the "How's Trent" code word? I remember it was a big thing in the media, and they came out and they said, no, that's not what it means, and it's more about the performances, and it's a load of shit. They got caught out, and I think that this is very similar in how they continue to pad these statistics. So you can talk to me all day long about 6 agains and stuff like that, but it's a complete load of shit. And that refereeing performance was a joke. Klein should not be allowed to have game 3, but he has been, which worries me a lot. But look, I don't think that he will have a bad performance like that again. I don't think he can afford to have 2 of them in a row, because there will be absolute uproar.
I'll be surprised if he's even reffing Origin next year. I'm actually surprised he even got game 3. It's just ridiculous. How do these Queenslanders have a stranglehold on the referees as well? I mean, they had Barry Gums sort of begin with when Origin got started, and they've still got their own referees reffing for them. How do they have this stranglehold?
honestly, I feel
It's
like
weird.
New South Wales have always been.
Is somebody on the NRL board on the Epstein list? Is that why? What's going on?
Yeah. I just
Honestly,
think
fair income. Somebody
Blues are
on
too
the Epstein
diplomatic,
list,
bro.
and Klein's got the dirt on him.
Yeah, Blues are way
Anyways,
too diplomatic. We're just way too diplomatic
they
about
should
it.
put their foot down and say, "I'm not having a Queensland referee." You know what? You know what Klein reminds me of?
Mm.
Like who he plays junior footy. Like, you know, if you go to the Canterbury area, they got Barella Bears and
Mm.
Bankstown Bulls and St. John's Eagles and Moorebank Rams and all that. Anyway, when I used to play junior footy, and I'm sure it still happens now, at your home ground, you'd have a referee that most likely was affiliated with the club, i.e., he used to play for the club, he's got a kid there, he's probably a player there at the moment, or he's on the board. And for the whole day, from under sixes to A grade, you get hot hometown decisions, you know. The referee, you'd get lopsided penalty counts. This is exactly the same with the Queenslanders when they have the hillbilly ref. It's been happening since Barry Gomersul, and it's still going on now with Ashley Klein. So every time you get a Queenslander ref, New South Wales never gets a fair go. Do you remember when they produced the stats last year on how many penalties Queensland get in New South Wales?
Yes, I remember that.
You know, Queensland were getting a fair run. We're up in Queensland. Queensland were getting over 70% of the penalties, and New South Wales was getting less than 30%. Does that tell you? Am I right on what I'm saying? Am I onto something with these Queenslanders? They should not be allowed to referee more than one game a season if they want to rig it. Do you remember what Maguire did? He put the NRL and Ashley Klein under absolute pressure. And did you see, you know, Klein had his best ever career performance of refereeing in that game 3 last year. It was his best career performance because he knew he was under the microscope. He couldn't afford to fuck around and check for Queensland. Anyways, hopefully the Queenslanders in this chat didn't get upset because I still love yous.
Yeah, look, we love you because you're dog supporters, but the truth is that without
I love them because they're anyways, only because they're dog supporters. So what happened if they were like para supporters or St. George supporters? Probably hates them even more.
Yeah, straight out. They know that. Eels supporters are under no illusion. Eels supporters are under no illusion. I do not like, but actually, to be honest, I've actually been interacting with some Parramatta supporters recently, and I'll be honest with you, the rivalry is real, but the respect is strong. Like, there's a lot of respect.
It's a lot better these days. I think that grub generation's a lot older now, and they're kind of like out of the picture mostly anyway.
Yeah.
95, I know Lakeside's brought it up. 95 season for somebody like me growing up and coming into footy. There were some legends in that Canterbury team. So yeah, it lives on with me for the rest of my life. You know, like Canberra 94, another champion team. I remember the Brisbane Broncos sides 92, 93, but because I was Brisbane
what an era for
they were up in Queensland, and I thought they're a team I have to hate because they seem so stuck up. But as a kid, I don't know, I just got used to get scared of the Brisbane team, but Canberra 94 team of superstars. Canterbury 95, the full hype, and obviously it was a Sydney side. You know, I think it was the first Sydney side I could clearly remember. Like Penrith 91 was very vague for me. And plus, where the hell was Penrith anyway? I used to think it was somewhere in Perth at the time. Or in Mexico. Like, honestly, where the hell was Penrith? I used to think, where the hell is Penrith? But Canterbury was the first real Sydney side I saw or win it. And because the Canterbury district's next door to the St. George district, we saw the flag waving, the blue and white streamers. Mind you, we used to have the red and white streamers, but that was the first time I see cars driving around with the flags in that in 95. And the decorations. Do you remember as if your team was in the finals or you knew they were in the finals, everyone used to decorate their houses in their team's colours. So where I live is predominantly red and white. I used to see the odd maybe South Sydney or Roosters fan, the rare Cronulla one, and then there was the odd Canterbury fan. But the further, depending on which district you went to, you go, oh, yeah, look at the blue and white decorations. Or for example, because Para didn't make the finals for a long time. So really I was only seeing Cronulla or St. George or Canterbury colours, really, or Roosters for, you know, not till the mid-90s, the Roosters. But it was nice to see other fans, how their fans went about it, you know.
And I honestly wish
it was good times. Nobody decorates their house anymore, hardly anyone. It's just disappointing.
Honestly, I wish if you drive around like Belmore, all the southwest Sydney, even towards the St. George area, there's a lot of doggy supporters there. Everyone's like up and about. Sometimes I wish like other fans would
Is it because they don't want to live in the Canterbury area anymore? Is that why they moved to the St George
I
area?
wish other fans, even Dragons fans, I wish they were a bit more vocal about their support for their team.
Look, if the team's doing well, yeah, you'll probably get annoyed from them. But they haven't done well for a while now. It's been 8 years now, so we'll be 8. We're going 7 years on to 8 next year. This year's a write-off as well.
It's been a while. Look, it has, and look, things will turn around. But do you know what I remember? I remember in '98 when the Bulldogs were the comeback kings. 97.
They also like that in '95. People don't realise.
Yeah, that's true actually.
You know what?
But I got into it I got into it really.
I'll tell you what happened in '95. They had a slow start to the year. So although they finished 6th, I think, on the ladder or 7th, they were actually really, really a top 2 or top 3 side. It was that really, really slow, injury interrupted first half of the season where also the Super League, I think, made affiliated players sit out for the first 4 weeks or something like that. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. And a few teams had to forfeit. I think Canterbury forfeited 2 games to begin the year or something. So them finishing 6th or 7th on the ladder was actually flattering to actually how good they actually were. Because if you remember in '94, I think they got the minor premiership. I think they got the minor premiership. '93, I'm pretty sure they got the minor premiership, or '92. So preceding those three seasons, they were a top 2 side anyway. So
yeah, we were in the grand final in '94 as well. So
that's right. But '95 was flattering where they finished. They were actually a lot better than that. They should have finished. They should have finished top 2 or 3 on the ladder. It was that first quarter or half of the season that cost them that high spot. But they finished the season with a bang, and they had the players, they had the experience, and they got they ambushed Canberra in '95. I remember it was 19-6 at half time. They finished off 25-6. Canberra pumped Canterbury that year, I think, but Canterbury in the prelims,
we did it. Yeah.
They ambushed them. They absolutely, and then the following week they ambushed Manly again. Manly had an unbelievable. It's insane. Both Manly and Canberra that year, I think, lost maybe 4 games each, or 3 games or 2 games. It was minimal, and their foreign against was insane, the both of them. And then Canterbury ambushed Canberra, and then ambushed Manly in the grand final. It was absolutely insane. Like, they left them gobsmacked. They came firing out of the blocks and left them for dead. You couldn't catch them after. That was probably one of the best ever performances by a side in the finals, to come out and ambush and did what they did. They knocked over St. George in the first week. That was probably their toughest game in the finals. That was their closest game. Controversial one. And then I can't remember who they beat in the second week of the finals. All I know is I think they thumped them, but it was what they did in the prelim in the grand final was, I don't know if you give credit to Anderson or those bunch of players. I'd love to give the credit to Anderson. He had them for about 4 seasons by then, or 5 seasons. So they're building for something.
I think the whole club.
I remember that season clearly. He's had John Timu, and Darryl Halligan was really winding up and becoming much more noted for his goal kicking than his finishing, if anything. Darryl Williams, I think he was. He was the other winger from memory. I think that was his name. You had Glenn Hughes. He was playing in the centres for you guys. You had the Hughes brothers. Yeah, Glenn was in the centres. It was a good time. He's had a good forward pack as well. They had the good punch on them. And, champion team. Good memories. Rocker Rod Silver, mid-season switch. What a masterstroke that was. He was discarded by Phil Good from the Roosters. And he was very quick, Rod Silver. He had the footwork. And, he's got Galvin, and he's needed that extra ingredient. And this guy's it. Do you remember he's had a half-good Craig Polamauna? I still reckon I think it was, to me, he was a bit more classier than, I don't know, him and Sexton, they're not big names. No, you can't. They're not big names. But Polly, I'll tell you what, Polly, for some reason, was so intertwined with Terry Lamb, and they played like the yin and the yang together, It was poetry in motion. Everyone loved Polly. He could kick, he could pass, he could tackle.
Yeah, Eddie says, I wish Galvin works out like Silver.
I know a lot about that Canterbury 95 side. I was only 9 at the time, or 8, but I remember it like it was yesterday. I know so much about the side. I didn't follow Canterbury, but for somebody that was growing up, they made an indelible mark on me.
Deep down, all Dragons supporters wish they were Canterbury supporters at the moment.
Maybe, but listen, they were always, that Canterbury side, or that 95 side, I'll always have a soft spot for them.
I'll tell you what, that 90 season... That 90s season was incredible rugby. Like what a season.
Which one, 95?
What a decade. All of the 90s. Like what a decade, what an era of rugby league. Like
He was. We got an introduction of about. Remember, we had so many new sides come in, even through the Super League, and then finished off with Melbourne.
The transition.
That was insane. We finished off with Melbourne. That was, and Penrith won its first grand final in the 90s.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it was so good. Brisbane did as well.
Semi-professional to professional sport, right? And the sport was growing, and the Super League. Well, it was just as bad as.
It's probably the most significant decade since the inception of rugby league, don't you think?
I think this decade's going to be probably a little bit more so, just because we've got two or three. We're going to have 3 clubs that would have joined this decade.
I'll tell you, to me, this decade's been significant. Not just COVID, but Peter V'landys. And I don't care how many detractors or haters or what people want to fight me, but he's absolutely consolidated the game financially. And he's looking for ways to grow, and he's looking to expand again. He's brought it into a proper professionally managed era. Before we had people like Dave Smith, I think his name was, that used to work for the RBS Scotland or whatever it was.
A joke.
We had David Moffat, we had David Gallup, and people for some reason talk up David Gallup. He was a lawyer for the Super League. He was clueless. I don't give a shit. Anyone says.
He was pretty bad, yeah.
I think what was Todd Greenberg's affiliation? Or was he just Canterbury CEO?
No, he was CEO. He was rugby league CEO. He was Andrew. He had Andrew Abdo's job.
Yeah, all right, that's another one. We moved on from those sort of people. Moffat, Gallup, Greenberg, Smith.
Gallup was a joke.
God knows who else. I can't remember. Anyway, stuff them. And look at the guy we got now. Peter V'landys takes it all in his stride. He gets a lot of hate, but the game's never looked financially ever better. And he's actually done things with the money, and he's looking to buy more assets.
Right? Between now and 2030.
He's taking the game to USA, for God's sake.
Between 2021 and 2030, 3 clubs would have been introduced right into the league. He would have done the Las Vegas move, and it's been so far so good. He would have weathered the storm of COVID, and he's more from when he took over to 2030. Some people are making the assumption or are predicting that the next rights deal is going to be worth $4 billion.
Depends on can we get a South African team in there potentially? They got talent oozing.
Even if we don't,
those rugby players, we got to snag a few. We have to.
In 2027, we're going to have 9 regular games a week. Not 8.
That's fantastic.
9.
Can't wait till we get 10 or 11.
We can't forget NRLW. It's gone from strength to strength. Like if you compare the NRLW and the AFLW, look. Regardless of what you think of
you know what? I'll give them credit. Their quality compared to AFL and soccer is way better.
But that's my point.
It's not even a question. Even soccer's horrible to watch from.
It's a young sport. Look, the NRLW and women's sport.
Their skill set's a lot better.
I'm not gonna sit here and shit on it, bro. Like it may not be your thing. It's not my thing, but I'm not gonna sit here and shit on it. These women want to play. The NRL is giving them opportunity. It's growing the sport with young women.
Yes, and it's financially viable.
You know what I mean? Like,
the whole thing.
It may not be your thing.
TV, viewership, we understand. Just the quality.
Yeah, and look, bro, men's rugby league has been professional enough for 40, 50 years. Let's see where the women's game is in 40, 50 years. How professional is it going to be? It may not ever get to the standard, it may not ever be on par with men because men's going to continue.
Never. It won't never get close.
No, but it's still, for how young it is, I think it's pretty good, to be honest. And again, it doesn't have to be a cup of tea. It's just, you don't have to shit on it. Do you know what I mean? Let's, because it is growing clubs. And so that's why I think, V'landys and this decade is going to be one of the most significant decades of rugby league that we may have seen yet. Given if they do get to a $3.5 billion, $4 billion media rights deal, what that does for the game, the amount of money that can go back into grassroots, the amount of money now that you can pay players, the salary cap. You look at State of Origin, the growth that State of Origin has. What it's doing is it's growing the game insanely, and having this amount of money simply means the game just gets bigger, and we could probably invest a lot more in areas like Vegas. We can invest in other, in Europe a little bit more. So I love this. I love, I want to see the international game grow, and I think the NRL and Peter V'landys have some good ideas, and so I back them all the way. I want to give a quick shout out to Jamie Teasdale. One more week, boys, and I'll be down for the Broncos game. Pumped.
Oh, I can't wait to see him
in Sydney.
Looking forward to seeing him.
100%. Looking
Are
forward
we
to
going
meeting you in
to
person.
catch up? Are we all for real for that? Do you want to do a Kennel catch up?
I mean, we could. I'm down. I'm down if you guys are down. But we can go maybe to El Jannah or something and have some dinner together. But I know
Wherever
these things
anyone's
sometimes.
comfortable. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah,
I
but I
like
mean,
that idea.
yeah, but it just depends on if people are comfortable. I'll put a
Well,
poll
we
up
can put
about it.
time and day. Who wants to come
Yeah,
tag along?
we can definitely do
Better find
that.
us.
But yeah, so
You suggest Rashays, I will kick you out of the group chat.
yeah, no, we don't do rashes in this pot. Now, look, to be honest, rashes isn't actually as bad as it used to be. I think like
Oh
if
wow,
you
he's
want
getting paid under the table.
I wish I was. Well, hey rashes, if you ever see this and you want to sponsor us, I would love to be sponsored by you guys. We're
They're
very
good
cheap.
people.
We have very
They're
cheap
good people.
advertising.
They're good
And look,
people too.
if anyone else wants to advertise on the podcast, we get 2 million impressions across our social media. Hit me up. We've got advertising
Far out.
space
So
for
I get
sale.
seen 2 million times. Bloody hell.
Not just this podcast. Like we get good views on this podcast, but we get across our social media. We get Instagram and a lot of the content that we put up. We get quite a lot of more than actually I expected. I remember when I looked at the numbers and I saw like we had altogether 2 million impressions. I thought there was something wrong. I thought there was a bit of a glitch somewhere, and then I double checked and very
Just want to give a
everybody
shout out
knowing.
to some of our worldwide fans. So, MKB that watches from San Francisco. Obviously, with daylight saving, I don't think he's watching now. He's probably snoozing at the moment. I want to give a shout out to Anastas. We'll watch this tomorrow while he's running his machinery. And I forgot the Indonesian fan. I forgot his name already. Sorry, I'm referencing you when you're listening to this. If you're on now, give us a shield. But anyways, how good is that? We've got a regular that watches from San Francisco.
I love it. I love the support that everybody gives us. Like honestly, it's we're very, very, very blessed, alhamdulillah, to have this. And you know what? To be honest, like a lot of the days after, doing 10, 12-hour days, you feel tired. You're like, oh, do I really want to do this? And you just think, nah, man, like it's so much. There's so much. It's so wholesome here. That's what I love as well. Is like everyone's so cool and so wholesome in this chat. And everyone's just so supportive and it just talking footy with the boys. That's all it is. Talking footy with the boys. I just love it. Really appreciate all your time and all your support. Now, I do want to talk about the upcoming game. So we haven't beaten the Penrith Panthers since August 2019. That's 2,150 days. That's a very, very long time. That was before we knew what COVID was. It's been a hell of a long time since we've actually beaten the Penrith Panthers, which is, we have been really bad in that time. We were bad even before then. But that period of time that's sort of gone on where the Panthers have been so successful and we've been so bad, it's just coincided, it's overlapped, and so we haven't beaten them. And so these are the teams that are going to be doing battle on Thursday night. I'll be honest with you. Here's the first thing, right? The first thing I have to call out is I am so happy this is happening on a Thursday. It's been a long week because of the bye, and I've just been really, really eager to watch this game. And so the fact that it's happening on a Thursday night, I'm very, very happy because if the game happens earlier, we can have a nice blockbuster on Thursday night. Plus, I actually don't mind Thursday night footy. I think it's one of those events that makes the footy weekend a little bit longer. I mean, there's less days of break, and so I'm really happy that it's happening on a Thursday. I've really become a big fan of Thursdays. I don't know if they're going to keep them until the end of the year, and I don't know what the draw and the games will look like when the Bears come in.
Do we get an extra game on Thursday once it goes up another team, or which day are we filling? Are we filling in Monday? What are we doing?
Yes, I'd be interested. I was never really a big fan of
I
Monday
don't like
footy.
Mondays.
Yeah, I think Monday's a bit weird, but
But then I
a
feel
friend of mine.
like, man, I feel like we need a rest. But then I feel like, we've got 4 days no footy. You get me?
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Or
So
do we have a Sunday night 8 o'clock kickoff game, or is that too late now?
just on the Monday game,
Or
one of
do
my
we
mates.
go back? Yeah, sorry,
Wait, wait,
or
wait.
do we go back to
Just
1
on
or
the
two
Monday
o'clock
game.
kickoffs on Saturdays and Sundays? You get
So
me for
on
an
the
extra.
Monday game, my friend, one of the boys is saying that the reason why he likes the idea of a Monday night game is because if we have a Monday night game and a Thursday night game, there's only 2 days of the week where we don't have footy. And then the footy week actually stretches 5 days: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I like that idea, right? I don't mind that idea in theory. In practice, I think what it does is it makes the short turnarounds more frequent. And so it will put a lot of pressure on the teams. And I think it makes the draw harder. It can make the draws very lopsided, especially for the Perth and the New Zealand teams. So I don't know if that's a realistic goal to have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday footy. Although I would like to see it, would like to see it come back for if only for that one reason of less days with no footy. What I think will happen is we'll have a Thursday game, 2 Friday games, right, which is 3, and then we'll have 3 on Saturday and 3 on Sunday. Because if we can have the six p.m. The 6 p.m. at
Good.
night Sunday
Like,
game could be the Perth block where their kickoff will be at 4 p.m. but we would get it at 6 or 7
or
depending
7.
on daylight
It's actually
savings.
not a bad idea. Works actually pretty good.
Yeah. And so
So
anyway,
Monday might
let's
be, because Holden Forever's pointed out a point. Maybe if they can't make short turnarounds work, it might not be possible. So they're gonna have to really skew the draw. But we'll see what happens.
that's
Anyway.
what I was saying. Because can you imagine, like, if you play on a Monday, you're in New Zealand, you play in Australia, you've got to fly back to New Zealand, then you've got Perth on the Thursday or Perth on the Friday. It would it would not make any sense. It would be impossible. As we saw, for example, with the State of Origin, Panthers players not being able to back up because they were in New Zealand and they needed to fly to Perth. And I think the RLPA has some sort of rule where you need to have 24 hours break minimum before you're preparing for your next game, I think. Or something like that. I don't know what it was, or something with the RLPA, they couldn't get it in time. So, point is, it's it makes it difficult. But now about the teams. On the Bulldogs team, I'm very impressed by this team. I think that Serraldo's knocked this one out of the park. This is close to our full strength team. This is probably one of the best teams we've named all year. What are your thoughts? What's your thoughts on this team, Dibbo?
I thought Curran would have been starting. Why is he on the bench? Is he expecting Fafita to do the first 10, 15 just to wear the bashing stage? And then might be his ploy. It's not a bad ploy if that's what he's going with. Then have Curran there freed up with more energy rather than being in the trenches in the first 10 or 15. It's not the same Penrith forward pack of last year, but that might be it. Morris, I don't see Curran as a Spencer Lenny sort of player. He's a motor that stays in 5th or 6th gear for the whole time when he comes on, Doesn't come out there and do a kamikaze mission. So maybe he wants him to be more effective throughout the game rather than having the opening. I don't know. It's just a suggestion. Like normally he starts Curran at 8 or 10 or 11 or 12 or 13. He can even play in the back line. That's how good he is.
I think the great thing about having both Harry Hayes and Josh Curran on the bench is they both can play in the middle and on the edges. But
Would you start Harry Hayes where Haywood is?
No,
or even Curran? Because Curran's to me, Curran's really a lock, and he's a really good lock because he's got such good ball skills.
See, Curran has played 80 minutes for us in the middle at prop. So what I think will happen is I think Max King, when they're playing closer to 60 minutes, Daniel Saluka Fafita will get 25 minutes Josh Curran will come in after 25 minutes and play the rest of the game. Right? And what that does is that locks up our defense. So when they bring on like Liron Patea and Liam Henry, who provide quite a bit of impact from off the bench, what that gives the Bulldogs to do is that their defensive line remains. But then when you've got a Lachlan Galvin on the bench who comes
Yep.
on, can straighten the attack and start using the edges effectively and giving those good clean balls on the edge. While we may not be able to tire the Panthers out, because I think they're also a very fit team, I think we can expose them as they get a little bit, as they lose some fitness. And so I think like Isaac Tungo and Casey McLean are great,
Yep.
but they do have deficiencies in defense, right? And so I think what ends up happening is, if you think about on that left edge, where you've got Thomas Jenkins defending, I think there's definite opportunities there to score. And so as long as we can maintain our fitness for 80 minutes,
Yep.
I think we can come over the top of the Panthers in the last 20 minutes. I don't think we'll blow them off the park, but I do think that's the idea. And the other thing is that we're probably going to try and just outwork them in defense, because this is going to be one of the. I think this is going to be It's not going to be a bludger of a match, but it's going to be a war of attrition. I think that's what it's going to be. I think this is going to be a real war of attrition. Because if you look at like the team that Seralda has chosen, it's go out there and work, go out there and work, go out there and work. Like, other than Lachlan Galvin, who's like, point at one player that you can look at and says, this guy's just there for his attack, or he's there for his like flamboyance or exuberance, right? Like you don't really get that in our team. Our team is just full of workers. Lachlan Galvin,
Yeah, but even Galvin doesn't stop. He keeps going.
Yeah,
he's the same.
Right.
He's got. I think he was the fittest player at the Tigers. I think he used to win all their time trials and fitness and all that. And he was only 18, 19 years old.
Yeah, that's right.
Imagine he's not the fittest player at Canterbury, so we'll leave a lot to be desired at the West Tigers. I'll tell you now.
It's credit. It's credit to him, but I think in this game, I think Max King will be man of the match.
When does Latu Faiuni debut for you guys? Hard with this lineup at the moment. That's for next year, I guess.
Yeah,
he might get a run this year. We'll see.
He's out for 4 or 5 weeks with a back injury.
No, I think when a player starts claiming back injury, they don't want to be there anymore. So I expect to see him in about a couple of weeks, maybe 1 or 2. Yeah, possibly. That's what it is.
Yeah, possibly.
I found it odd when I saw he was out for back injury a few weeks ago. I was like, he doesn't want to be here anymore. And look, lo and behold, a few weeks later, he got his release. So, yeah, it was on the money when I saw that.
That's interesting.
So I reckon he'll play for you guys in 1 or 2 weeks, like as in reserve grade. He's too good to be playing Jersey Fleek. So it'd be silly for them to play him in Jersey Fleek. He's a reserve. He's got to go straight. He's a big boy. He's a big boy. He's a powerhouse. Wait till next year. He'll force his way into your first grade side.
Yeah. So with this team, I'm expecting Max King to. I'm definitely expecting Max King to have a man of the match performance. I think that he, a lot of people are suggesting he should be dropped from the New South Wales team. He doesn't deserve it, things like that. I think he's going to come out and prove all the doubters. I think that he's going to prove all the doubters wrong. I think he'll run close to 200 meters, make 30 tackles. He's going to have an absolute belter of a match. And I reckon Jacob Preston will have a good game. It'll be his second game back from suspension. I thought him and Galvin, almost broke through the Rabbitohs line multiple times. And I'm looking. I think Jacob Preston's going to absolutely kill it. I think there's a lot there to be excited about. I guess the other danger man for us is Kurt Mann. I think that Kurt Mann can really put a lot of pressure up the middle against their tired middlemen. You know, and just to remember, like, just so you guys don't forget, they only beat the Eels 18-10 or something like that. You know, which is why I am a little bit confident about this game. Yeah, what are your thoughts on the team, Dibbo?
I think that's your best 23 you've named all year. Like, even Mitch Woods is there. And New South Wales only lost that game on Thursday because Mitch Woods went off for a suspect HIA. It was another Queensland ploy to make him win the game. He's a very willing player, Mitch Woods. Like, the fact he's number 18 or whatever down there. Sam Hughes is there. He's missed out. I'm so excited to see Rado Rinakama. I actually loved seeing him on Thursday. So, love seeing this new breed of players. Blake Taft's there. Curtis Morin's there. Like, Curtis Morin, you can put him in your 17 or every week and he wouldn't give you a crap performance. He's that good. Maurice, thanks for the $10 there. Super chat. Appreciate it. Can we get a poll on the final score?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Always support. Boys can get a poll on the final
you
score.
Know what?
Because I'm going
if I go after, you know what, Maurice? If I go after great Norm Proven and one of his most famous sayings, and it's said before his final game, which was the 65 grand final. The law of averages demands it that one day you'll get closer to, breaking the sequence. At the time, St. George was 9 in a row grand finals, and he had this sick feeling in his gut. And he thought if we can get a nice grand final win here in my final game, it's a nice 10, he can bow out a winner. So the more you go into a sequence, the more likely you're going to achieve. The probability gets higher, basically, that the result will change. So you guys haven't won since 2019, Elmo?
Yep.
How many games is that? 12? 11? Let's say it's 10 games.
I think it was 10 games, yeah.
Or is it 11?
Honestly, I'm not exactly sure how many it is.
Because if it's 11, you're equal to St. George, so you won't win they won't, that you aren't going to lose the next one. Anyway, I just reckon the law of averages demands it, that something's got to change eventually. You can't keep winning forever in Penrith's case. Nothing's infinite except for the eternal. But I'm going to go with Canterbury on this one. It's going to be a tight game. It's going to be a good game. It's at CommBank. It's a bit wet out there. The grass, I don't know what they've done with the grass. I was there last week. It's going to get a bit muddy. I think the players have a bit of mud. It's a good track. There'll be a fair bit of line breaks. Hopefully it's a dry track come Thursday. I'm going to go Canterbury by 2 points. Elmo, can you put up a poll?
Yeah,
you have. Sorry, I was about to say, what do I pay you for? But yeah. Bulldogs at the course. 1 to 12. Yes, 1 to 12. 2 points, Canterbury. It's going to be a cracking game. I normally get these right.
Just a couple of comments.
I think you have lost for so long. I don't think the losses will keep going. That sequence is going to break eventually. The law of averages demands it.
Before I tell you what I think, and why I think what I think, I want to talk a little bit about the
your boys
Panthers
are playing
team.
good, and that's my defense as to why I like Canterbury. Besides the law of averages demanding it with the whole loss sequence, it's got to eventually become a win. Your boys are playing good footy this year. Canterbury by 2 in a tight tussle. Penrith's now in the 8. I think they deserve to be there, and I'm happy they're there. But it's going to be a tight game. It'll do both sides of the world of good. Canterbury by 2.
The first thing is, I think it's interesting that he's dropped Alamotti again, and he's keeping Casey McLean.
Casey McLean's been playing some good footy of late, and Thomas Jenkins, Elmo.
Look, it's interesting. I still don't rate Thomas Jenkins. I think he's good.
He's played well. Give him his dues.
I still, I don't know what it is. Maybe I hate him because he's a ginger. I don't know, but I'm not.
There's something about you and gingers. It's like you're insecure or something.
No, it's not that. I don't know. I'm not fully convinced that he's as good as people are making out to be.
He's not. We're not saying he sets the water light, but he's playing good footy to warrant.
But New South Wales called him into the New South Wales team.
Yeah, that was just to be the what's it called, the tackle bag, really.
Yeah, it's true.
Think about it. Come on, it's good. It helps. It's not because we suspect you're gonna play. Oh man, they would have caught Jack Bostock if that's the case, or Or maybe
Bus
some of the under
freak.
19s players, although they had a game.
How bad is it? He's done his ACL. Like, I'm so
Yeah, that was
devastated for him,
shattering.
man.
Like
I
they
was
lost
so
him,
devastated for
Dylan.
him.
When I saw it happen to Dylan Egan, I was Devo for him as well.
Yeah, same.
He
Same.
just
I
hates
love
seeing
Dylan
that
Egan. He's such a good
people
player.
on the way up because he's another ginger. That's why.
Dylan Egan's too good to be. Honestly, Dylan Egan's too good to be playing at the.
Hey, I said that.
playing at
Hey,
the
honestly, I said I felt sorry for him. Honestly, St George finally got decent juniors. Him, Hamish Stewart, and the Couchman
Catchman
twins,
brothers.
and they all kind of like fall in the ginger category. Far out.
Yeah. Um. So
And
I
it's
think
funny,
like
one of the Couchman twins is also out for the year as well. So
yeah,
not a good
it's a
run
big
there.
shame.
Yep.
I think Isaiah Papali'i as second row this year has been actually pretty bad for them. He hasn't performed. I think he's better playing in the middle for the Panthers.
Do you
I'm
put
also not a big
Isaiah? Do you swap him with Isaiah? Because don't forget Isaiah used to play second row once upon a time.
honestly, man.
Have you seen
I'd
Isaiah when
probably
he goes
start.
wide? He absolutely kills them.
No, Isaiah. I'm saying Isaiah Papali'i.
Yeah, I was saying put him in the lock position. He can play more of
No,
a
I
middle
would
rather
start.
than a wide edge player.
I would have honestly started Luke Garner. I would have started Luke Garner and had Papali'i come off the bench playing up the middle. But I do think that their centers or their edges are very, very vulnerable. If we can put on some clean, crisp passes, we will be able to capitalize on them. I genuinely believe we can get the better of them. I will say though, like Moses Leota against the Warriors had an absolute blinder. I thought he played out of his skin. Luron Patea, amazing. I thought he came on, he offloaded well. He caused so much headache for the Warriors, and I think like he turned the game. I think if as long as we can continue to defend the way we know we can defend, I actually think that we've got it in us to win convincingly. When I say convincingly, I think that they'll come out strong. It'll be close in the first half, but I think we can run away with it. I just, I don't mind their bench, but I just feel that their back line is very, very vulnerable. Compared to our back line, I think we've got it over them. Obviously, in almost every position. Oh, no, okay, they got Brian Toto there as well. How can I say that? Yeah, look, I just think that they're quite vulnerable.
Why doesn't anyone put up the high kick
defense.
against Brian Toto? He's only 4'1". Seriously.
Honestly, I think they might target him. I genuinely think this week they might target him with Burden with those bombs. And so, that's what I think. While I've got everybody here, we've got 53 people live. Please, if I can just get you guys to give this video a thumbs up, please give this video a thumbs up. And be sure to click subscribe. We've only got 6 likes on the video. If I can just get that up to 30 or 40, I would really appreciate that. Honestly, what it does is it just helps give us that boost in the algorithm so that more and more people get to see our content. And honestly, I don't need anything from you. Just click the thumbs up and click the subscribe button if you are lurking in the background. If you are new to the channel, please give us a thumbs up and a subscribe. Thank you so much for all your support. So that's what I think. I think it's I think that it'll be close at halftime. I think it'll be 14-12 or 12-8 or something at halftime, and then at full time, I think the Bulldogs will come away with it. I actually feel like it's gonna be 24-8 or 24-10, or something like that. I think we will win by 12 to 14 points. It won't be as close as you're making it out to be, Deep. I think that we've got one of the things about our team that we've got is we've taken it to the next level. And I just feel like this year Panthers haven't gotten it right yet because they've lost too much experience. And so that's why I think the Bulldogs will actually come over the top of the Panthers. I reckon Crichton's going to have a very big game. I reckon Crichton against his old team, against his old captain, wanting to prove a point, will will have a big game. So that's what I think. I think it'll be a Dogs win. I think it'll be a great game. It'll be a crack. I reckon it'll be one of the games of the year. I genuinely believe it'll be one of the best games of the year. And it'll be one that even if the Panthers lose, you could almost say, as long as we don't blow them off the park, you can say the Panthers are back, because I think that's how good they will be against us. It's going to be a cracking game. But I want to point out, I know this sounds very, very harsh, but I need to point out, they only beat the Parramatta Eels 18-10. The Eels are literally fighting for the spoon. I know that's a harsh way to look at it, but I think that's the difference at the moment in performance. We've got a lot of confidence. We have a lot of momentum. And so that's why I think, people are underestimating just how good the Dogs actually are. Dibbo?
I got a bit confused when he said I was wrong that it won't be a close game, but then he said 24-8, it'll be a close game. That's not a close game. I think it's going to be a titanic tussle. I honestly think it's the most important for me is going to be the forwards. Does Penrith have Penrith's forwards are going to be going forward, and that really lies with their props, Moses Leota and Lindsay Smith, and whether how the replacements come off the bench, like is Liam Henry and Luron Pate going to fire, basically. Are they going to keep the mojo going? I don't understand, what's Brad Schneider on the bench for? Is he playing hooker or what's he doing?
I think it's cover for Cleary just in case he gets injured, because I think he's still under a bit
of an injury. Okay. All right. That makes sense. But you know what? He's had about almost 2 weeks to recover now, hasn't he? Or a week?
Yeah, I think he'll be fine.
Oh, a week. What am I talking about? A week or 1 day? Jeez, I'm off.
It's been 9 days. I think he does come on eventually and give Mitch Kenny a bit of a break as well. He has done that throughout the year as well. So it's not a bad option at all. I think to have Brad Schneider, even though I don't really rate Brad Schneider at all.
I don't understand. Do they have anyone else? What about that Luke Summerton?
Yeah, Summerton's there, but Summerton's been average too. They've got Trent Toll out. I think he's okay. I feel sorry for Matt Eisenhuth. That guy has to be the most unlucky player that's ever played rugby league. His team has won 4 grand finals in a row. He's been part of the team that whole time, but hasn't played in 1 grand final.
I can't disrespect this Penrith side by saying they're going to get. That's why I got. It's going to be a mad game, I reckon. 2 points.
Yeah, it'll be a good game.
They know each other's. Canterbury will know Penrith's game more than Penrith knows Canterbury game, because they got how many ex-Panthers in there? Actually, probably not as much as we think they do.
3.
Crichton, Burton, kick out 3. Who else? Did you sign anyone else from there?
That's it.
Oh, wow. Not as much as we thought, but 3 very good players.
We did sign Brent Naden. He ended up going to the Tigers. So
couldn't have done a worse club. Anyways.
I think he's been all right. But and Salmon. That's right. Normally it says Salmon.
Salmon.
Salmon, yeah.
And they took Alamari off you guys, but for some reason he's not in the team.
Yeah, I think Alamari's defensive
would have been nice to get.
Roost.
It would have been nice to put him against Canterbury, That's what the coaches used to do. If the player hadn't been selected for 2 or 3 months, I'm going to put you in against your ex-side because you know him really well. You get me? Or you know their systems or whatever it is anyway, or his extra motivation to get back at him. I don't think Crichton's got any... I don't think any of those boys got any extra motivation to prove a point. They love their ex-teammates. They know, monetary-wise, Canterbury offered good pay, and also, another club to make their mark on, to win titles and create their own legacy there, basically, and, bring the Dogs out of the doldrums. So it's going to be a good game. I like this game. It's first versus what, 6th?
8th.
8th, okay. All right, they're 1 point off 6th? I think it's close down the bottom.
I disagree. I disagree a little bit. I think that the point to prove is that the Bulldogs are not here to stuff around. If symbolically, if we lose to the reigning premiers, it sort of looks very bad for the Bulldogs. If the Panthers lose, Look,
Not
they lost a
really.
lot of talent.
Like you think about it. I mean, how many of he's lost all year? One
Two.
or two? Two. Okay,
Yeah.
two. What
And
are we
both
now?
have been
Round
on Thursday
16?
night.
Yeah,
17.
all right. He's going to win one eventually. But I've tipped the Dogs anyway. So, they're going to get the win. I just feel like they're going to get the win. Give them their dues. They're playing better footy this year. I think Penrith's starting to hit their straps. I mean, an undermanned Penrith beat. I don't know if you want to call them undermanned. They absolutely tailed up the Warriors last week. I think the Warriors were just shell shocked because they didn't know what to expect with so many players missing from the Penrith side. It was actually a really big distraction. Like, what am I going to get here? They might have underestimated them instead. Absolutely copped the whacking. You watch that game?
Yeah, I did. I actually watched the whole game.
Didn't they tell you they underestimated them, or they were just like, "What am I getting today?" Because how many players they couldn't catch a flight?
I think they did underestimate them, but I also think
bad.
the Warriors. I think the Warriors are starting to show that
they'll make the 8 though. They've won too many games already.
They will make the 8, but I think it's showing that they were never really like proper contenders. Not for this year. Anyway.
I mean, you got to give them their dues still. Like,
look, they
pumped
the Sharks.
In the finals. Huh?
Look, they pumped the Sharks, which was great to see.
I hope the Sharks don't make the 8. I'm glad you brought up the Sharks. I hope they don't make the 8.
Yeah, I hope the Sharks and the Broncos don't make the 8. Oh God, please!
Too late with the Broncos. The Sharks played them into form. Anyways,
bro, they did not play anyone into form. That second half was the biggest bro. That implosion by the Sharks was just not. I was sitting there watching. I was like, what the hell is going on? I was like, what are we watching? Into form,
giving them some self-belief.
Bro, do you know how khara the Broncos were in the second half? The Broncos were not good in the second half. I promise you that. The Sharks were just that bad.
They've played them into some self-belief, as I'm saying. Watch them throw the ball away around this week. Who's got the bye this week?
Bro, the Warriors are gonna pump them. The Warriors are gonna pump them. The Broncos
we'll find out. The game's in Brisbane, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in Brisbane.
This will be interesting to see if
but the Warriors have a lot of supporters. The Warriors have a lot of supporters in Queensland.
Regardless, I think Brisbane will get them this week as well. I think Warriors will go back to back on the losses, even though I didn't expect them to go back. Well, honestly, I wasn't going to tip the Warriors last week. I only tipped them when you told me that the players couldn't get a flight out. So I changed my tip after.
I reckon the Broncos are bigger frauds than even the Sharks. Honestly, the Broncos, bro. Do you know if there was any other team, any decent team playing the Broncos, they would have put 50 on them last week. I'm not even joking. The Broncos are absolutely piss poor. They re-signed Adam Reynolds.
But the Broncos almost put 50 on Canterbury. It's a big saying.
Bro, the Broncos have had 2 good games all year. Sure, they almost put 50 on us.
But doesn't that tell you they got it in them? They just got to find the buttons.
Are you telling me the Titans don't have it in them? Of course they do. Yes, they do.
Don't. They're the worst team in the comp.
Yeah, they are. I'm not denying that.
I hope they get the wooden spoon.
On paper, the Titans look remarkable. On paper.
How? Who?
Bro, how fast is their back line?
Fast? No. Yeah, that's all they got. They can't even defend.
Nah. Yeah, I know they can't. Neither can the Broncos, bro. The Broncos had 20-something points put them in the first half. My point is
Broncos
this, right?
attack. The Broncos can do a lot better than the Titans.
My point is this, right? The Broncos have had 2 good games. One against the Dogs, one against the Titans, and that first round against the Roosters.
Against the Titans, they were horrible against the Titans.
My point is that they weren't that great, and they're still.
I think they're going to start hitting their straps. I think the Sharks have inadvertently played them into something.
I think the Broncos.
I've seen it in past seasons with other sides. I think the Sharks have put them into.
The Broncos are major.
I think the Broncos will make the 8.
They showed nothing. They may make the 8 because the rest of the team is so unstable, but they showed nothing to suggest that they're anywhere near a real team. They are an absolute joke. The Broncos, honestly, are rubbish.
But how do you justify saying that after they tailed up Canterbury?
Bro, they tailed up Canterbury 2.5 months ago. Canterbury have only lost 2 games. We had one off night. Are you telling me?
So what happens?
Okay, hang on. No, stop.
Yeah,
stop,
but
stop.
I just want to point out something to you.
In 17 weeks, wait. In 17 weeks, the Dogs have lost 2 games.
Yep.
2. In 17 weeks, in 4.5 months of footy, the Dogs have lost 2 games. If you're telling me that you're expecting the Bulldogs to be perfect in 17 weeks, I'll tell you that that's unrealistic. We
Of course
lost.
not. Yeah.
We got smashed by the Broncos. We came back hard, and we went ages without losing another game. We went 5-6 weeks without losing another game. We've kept teams scoreless. We've won from behind. We've won from in front. We've won. My point to you is, you can keep referring back to that, and I know that the Broncos have it in them. They don't have the mental fortitude, right? They are not a united team, and they have some absolute idiots in their team who will always be holding them back. They may make the 8, but they're actually not going to get very far. That's all I'm saying.
Now, what happens if Canterbury starts stringing a few losses together? Because Brisbane did it after that game. Do we then say the same thing about Canterbury? Because I certainly wouldn't be saying the same thing about Canterbury.
What do you mean?
So if Brisbane can fall off, is Canterbury also possible can fall off?
Not at all. Not even in the slightest. They are 2 completely different teams, with one which has a system where everybody comes in, does their job, and they know that if they didn't do their job, they can easily get replaced. Our 7, our 6, our 9, our 1, all of them know that there's competition for spots. All of them know that if they're not performing, they're going to drop. Look what they've done to both Miney and Sexton. The other thing is, what in our performances, what consistent bad habits do the Bulldogs have in their performances over 17 weeks? Don't tell me we lost once to the Broncos or once to the Dolphins. Don't tell me that we lost 2 games in 17 weeks. I'm asking you, what are bad habits that the Bulldogs have, right, that indicate that we're going to fall off a cliff for no reason? Nothing. That's the point.
They can
take precedence.
I'll stop you there. I'll stop you there. They can really drop off. They can really drop off. They can really drop off. And if somebody doesn't find the gear for them in the second half, and thankfully in 2 of those games, somebody found the gear for them, they'll fall off even further.
Yeah, but
there's been
again,
I'm just telling you, I wouldn't underestimate the Broncos.
But even with what you're saying, we're still first. And even with what you're saying, we've lost the least amount of games. And even with what you're saying, we're 4th in attack. And even with what you're saying, we're number 1 in defense. So again, you're not showing me habits that indicate we may fall off. Sure, we've had lapses, but in 17 weeks, where our team has actually gone away to play Origin, we've had injuries, we've had players. Bro, if you look at how many games Haywood has played, how many games Harry Hayes has played, right? We have a young team overall. Bro, Kiraz isn't even 23 years old yet. We've got a young team. So for you to say, with this, but you're just expecting us to be perfect. That's the point. You're expecting the Dogs to be perfect. The Broncos are khara. The Broncos are celebrating defeating the Titans by a big margin after losing 5 games in a row. 6 games in a row. They've lost 6 games in a row against pathetic teams. They got smashed at home against the Panthers, who were in a bad run of form themselves, 32-8 or something. Right? So my point is this, is that you have to look at habits and you have to look at the consistency. The Bulldogs are showing that they are consistent. The Raiders are showing that they are consistent. The Warriors are showing that they are consistent. Hell, Melbourne are showing that they're consistent. But the Broncos are showing that they are, the only thing that they are is consistently shit. They're consistently individualistic. They consistently don't have the connection as a team. And they celebrate wins that they know they got lucky to have. Honestly, the Sharks, they should have got smashed by 30. Right? Against the Titans, look, it's the Titans. Right, but what they're showing consistently is that they have bad habits. What they're showing consistently is that they're not unified and they're making excuses. They're not showing us that they're a team with connection, that they're a team with good habits. They don't have fast defensive line speed. They don't have 3-man in defense that stops the offload. The only thing they have is a Payne Haas. So tell me again how you think the Bulldogs are likely to drop off. Our system is built on hard work. We run to 8 teams over in the last 20 minutes because we've outworked them. The Broncos want to come out there and outshine other teams with spectacular plays. And really, that's what happened with the Sharks. But, yeah, again, they don't compare to us at all. Michael Maguire keeps choosing me. Corey Pakes at number 9. Billy Walters turned that game on its head. Billy Walters should be in there number 9. Billy Walters should be their number 9, not Corey Pakes. So
I'm actually happy to, I just want to see where we are in about 10 rounds from now, where the Broncos will sit. Where the Broncos will sit.
So you're saying, hang on. So you're saying, wait. So you're saying that you're more confident in a Broncos team of going good than the Bulldogs team going good, is what you're telling me.
I think the Broncos will make the top 8. That's what I think.
I didn't say they wouldn't. I didn't say they wouldn't. I just said that even if they do, they'll be lucky to make it past the first week.
I don't know why. I think the Broncos are going to make the 8, and I think they'll go all right. I think they will.
I don't think so at all, bro. I don't know what you're watching, but you're still like even if you look at the bookies, right? They've got the favorites against the Warriors. I know it's at Suncorp, but there is no way in hell the Broncos should be favorites against the Warriors. There's no way the Donkeys should be. All right. Look, they came out, they smashed the Roosters 50-14. 30-22, they lost against the Raiders. They beat the Cowboys 26-16. They beat the Dolphins 20-12. From there, then they beat the Tigers. Then they lost to the Roosters. They lost to the Warriors. Right? They got smashed by the Panthers. They lost to the Rabbitohs. They lost to the Dragons. They got smashed by the Sea Eagles. And then, oh look, they beat the Titans. And look, they got lucky in the second half against the Sharks. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you're not actually like you're talking again about their potential and not about what they're actually doing.
I think with those wins, it's going to do them a lot of good in their terms of confidence and that. I think they'll start doing a good run home. There's too much class in that team not to be there.
I think that even after beating the Titans, they said the same thing. Then they came out in the first half and they had 22 put on them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, again, I'm telling you, you're overestimating the potential of the Broncos. Everyone still thinks that they're going to come out and beat the 2023 Broncos. It's over for them. And Adam Reynolds should retire at the end of this year. He's too slow. He's too rigid, right? And he's copying the same problems that DCE is copying. He thinks he can play on, but he can't. He really can't. He's just too old. That's genuinely what I think. To be honest, I think Ezra Ram's been one of their best. Genuinely, since he's come back, I reckon Ezra Ram has been one of their absolute best. But again, yeah. Anyway, I think that look, I want to give a quick shout out quickly though to Jamie Teasdale, who said the Dogs win. I'm that confident if we lose this week, I'll do a $50 super chat next week. Jamie, you don't have to do that, bro. I'm confident too, but honestly, there's no need for that. I'm very confident that we'll get a good win, not only against the Panthers, but I think we'll get revenge against the Broncos. Having said that, though, both teams will be Origin affected, so we'll be missing probably 5 players, and I think the Broncos will be missing. How many players will the Broncos be missing? Probably 3 or 4. So it's not going to be a true embodiment of what we can do. But the good thing is, we've got good depth, and I think that'll be good. But I'm very confident about this game. Look, I'm going to say it. I think it's going to be a 26-12, 24-12 game where the Dogs, are comfortable in their win. That's what I believe. And look, we do have a poll up running after 24 votes. 84% of the vote thinks that the Bulldogs will win. Obviously, on a Bulldogs podcast, that's always going to be the case. 38% think it's 13 plus, and 46% think it's going to be 1-12. So very, very, very confident in this team. What do you think the score's going to be, Dibbo?
I think it's going to be 20
as well.
I'm going to think it's going to be 20-18 to the Dogs. And my man of the match will be, it's going to be a sort of trenches sort of battle sort of man of the match. So my man of the match is going to be the one they probably won't expect it from, Reid Marnie.
Reid Marnie, that's a good call. I feel like he had a really good game.
I feel like the big men are going to bash each other, and then the small one that they're probably not going to watch is probably going to sneak a 1 or 2 try for you guys. That's what I think anyway.
Who? Marnie?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
I
it's a good
think
shout.
so.
I reckon we have a great game. I reckon honestly, I reckon Toby Sexton will perform well as well. I think like he's trying to earn himself a contract, and that'll drive him to play well. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. I think our attack is actually going to be a lot better this week than it was than it has been this year, in my opinion. Only because I feel like Lachlan Galvin does add something to our attack that we probably haven't had, and also the competition for spots is forcing our players to improve. So, like, I'm being very conservative with what I think the score will be, but I wouldn't be surprised if you know I wouldn't be surprised even if it gets if the score's a little bit higher than that. The referees for this week are. I just wanted to just quickly show you guys. The referees will be Grant Atkins. Grant Atkins and Ziggy Matt Noyen are the touch judges, and we've got good old Ashley Queensland Klein as the match review official.
He always finds a
in the
way.
bunker.
Anyways,
So I think that'll be very interesting. Yeah. So some of the shouts from the I think look, I'm a fan of Grant Atkins overall as a referee. I'm happy that it's Grant Atkins and not some other dude. And so I'm happy it's Grant Atkins.
Grant Atkins is actually my favourite ref in the game at the moment.
Yeah, I think he does a really good job.
I feel like he makes it less about himself than most of the other refs. He's my favourite ref in the game. Doesn't always get it right. I feel like he gets it right more than the most. Yeah. That's what I feel like anyway.
It's Jamie Deesdale saying Critter man of the match, 30-12. I think that's actually not a bad shout.
He's not up against. Yeah. Who's he up against? Targo or the other fella?
No, he'll be up against Casey McLean.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one. Eddie Abs, Dogs 22, Panthers 18, man of the match. I think it's a great shout too. It could be close. I hope it's not, because I don't want more heart palpitations and my watch telling me that my heart rate's gone up above 170 or some shit like that.
This is a Canterbury home game, is it?
No, this is Panthers home.
Oh, sorry, it's at Bank West. We already spoke about that. It's at CommBank.
Yeah.
I think you guys will have more fans there anyway, because Penrith fans don't really travel, even though it's just up the road.
I think there'll be a huge contingent of Doggies fans. I'm still undecided if I'm going to go to this game. I've actually been quite sick. I did cop a concussion. Funnily enough, I copped a concussion last week, and I'm actually still feeling the effects of it. So,
what did you concuss yourself from? Celebrating?
No, I cracked my head at home on something. I actually hit my head really hard.
Was that when New South Wales was making the comeback, or?
No, it was actually a couple of hours before Origin on the Wednesday.
I
cracked my head, in the shower. And I didn't actually think anything of it for the first day, and then I went to the doctors. I actually went to the hospital on Thursday night, about 24 hours after. Yeah, and the doctor was like, yeah, he's like, oh yeah, you've got a concussion. He's like, did you pass out? I was like, I don't remember passing out. I was like, maybe you didn't, but you still have a concussion, and so the after effects I can still actually feel them a few days on.
Yeah, not a good feeling.
Honestly, I was this close because I was still feeling the headaches. I was very close to not jumping on tonight, just because I was struggling a little bit with that. Doggy 71, it's 24-8. Man of the match, Burden. That's also not a bad shout. I think Burden will come back and have a great game.
Doggy 71. He's lived through it all.
Not a bad shout, man. Because Burden had a very good game against the Eels. I thought that was his best game of the year. And given that Galvin's sort of chomping at his heels, he could probably come back and have great game and prove to us just how good he is. Notorious A, Doggies 21, Penrith 20. Look, for my for my sake and for my heart palpitations, I hope it's not that close because I really don't want it to be that close.
Somebody just make him happy and say 40-0.
Norm Eater, Dogs 15, 14 Panthers. Dude, come on, bro. Come on, Norm. You gotta be better than this, brother. You gotta be better than this. It's not gonna be a 1-point shootout. I mean, sure, the Bulldogs are the most successful team in Golden Point history. We have won more Golden Point games than any other team percentage-wise. But still, I really don't want it to go that high. I really don't want it to go to a 1-point finish. And honestly, I think the Doggies will be a lot better than that. Eddie Abs, 42-8.
So that'll make you feel better.
That does make me feel better. I think it's a good point. But look, 42-8. Unless we come out and absolutely blitz them, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they're a much better team, especially after that performance against the Warriors. I think that'll definitely boost their confidence. Dave is not happy that we discussed the Broncos for 15 minutes. Look, man, I apologize. I just hate the Donkeys, and I just hate the fact that everybody's starting to blow smoke up their ass because they beat a really poor Sharks team. I just have to argue with Dibbo because I think his view is incorrect. I think that the Broncos are still a bit of a joke. But yeah, look, I apologize. I'll be sure next time to make sure we don't spend that much time.
Oh, that was good. We don't always have to. It was good talking other sides and that. It was good.
Jamie Tisdale, how do you think I feel living around the pools? Oh, bro, I don't know how you do it. Honestly, I don't know how you do it. I would hate to be a Broncos supporter living up there. In any case, so yeah, look, I think the Panthers are gonna be out to win this. I think that they know we are the big scalp that they want to see, or that they need to get for people to say that they're back. It's gonna be a very tough game, and I think if we don't come out, I think if the Bulldogs don't come out absolutely focused on what they need to do to win this game, I honestly think that we'll get swept by the Panthers. And this is me being really, really real here about the game, is we need to come out and start fast. The scary part is that the Panthers play a lot like the Bulldogs, so they can go with us for 80 minutes. So if they get a fast start on us, the fear is that they can do a Canterbury on Canterbury. That first 20 minutes is going to be so crucial to us getting the ascendancy. What I did think was very interesting was against the Rabbitohs, we came out like a team on fire. So we were beating the clock at one point. I think it was 18-0 after 16 minutes. And then the Rabbitohs sort of started to get into it. If we can play with that same intensity against the Panthers, we may not get out to an 18-0 lead so quickly, but I do think we can score first, and I do think that we can rush them. I think someone mentioned earlier that a lot of their go forward and a lot of their momentum is built off the back of To'o getting the ball and running hard. It's interesting. It'll be a very interesting. I would be interested to see what strategy Soraldo employs to ensure that To'o is kept limit his meters are limited, and Dylan Edwards.
Yeah, but you got your own meter eaters. That's how you fight it.
We also, but if our defense isn't straight, and if our defense can't keep them, stop them from starting their sets on their 30, especially with Cleary,
but you get him
and his kicking game off the back.
But you fight fire with fire. You get him coming out of his 10, not his 30. You fight fire with fire. Your boys, mate, Kiraz, he eats meters like it's for breakfast. Sherry,
yeah, honestly, I think that the way he eats meters is almost on par with To'o. And then I'm with you.
With fire.
Yeah, I think that we just need to, our defense just needs to be on song, because honestly, To'o, like he can be having them start on their line on their 30 every single game, every single set. So if we're kicking, if we got Burton taking control of the kicking and he's kicking to the left all the time and he's kicking to Jenkins' wing, honestly, Jenkins does have a fumble. Jenkins does have an error in him, especially if you've got kick out pressuring him for every single kick. I genuinely think that's how we win. We kick it to Jenkins, we pressure him, right? And you just have Marcelo Montoya running at him all night. Marcelo Montoya hitting at him all night. I think you can put a lot of pressure on him, and we can honestly easily smash them on their on our sort of left hand side. And I think that's where I think like the game, in my opinion, will be won and lost. I think the forward battle is going to be quite even. Neither of us have huge forward packs, but we both have very hardworking forward packs. And that's, I think, the kicking game in this is going to be so interesting because the thing as well is Cleary will be smart enough to know to keep the ball away from our wingers. They may choose to kick, to kick high all the time as opposed to kicking long. Do you get me?
Yeah, but he's got good kickers yourself. You got good kick returners. I think they're just they lose players every year, so I think you guys. I mean, I honestly think you guys will get the win, but I just feel like it's going to be a close scoreline. It's just one of those games.
I think it will be. It definitely be a.
They've lost.
A close scoreline.
They lost Fisher Harris. They've lost obviously Crichton. Fisher Harris was a big loss, really, in the forward pack. They were such a dominant forward pack. But, I mean, they would have kept him, but he wanted to return home to New Zealand or probably just live in New Zealand for a few years. I don't know how Lindsay Smith is going to go. I mean, Leota's missing his bash brother. Clearly, he's not hasn't been exactly as effective as he was in past seasons. It's the forward pack's where it's going to be won.
I agree that.
That's where it'll be decided. And then from there, I think the better forward pack should get the win for their team. He's got a better bench than theirs easily as well. So
our bench is great. I'm really, really like. I'll be honest. I'd like to figure out how you get Lachlan Galvin starting, and then you have an extra prop on the bench. I think that would be ideal if you've got a rotation of 3 props and a lock on the bench. Honestly, that it'd be so freaking insane. Because then you've got a much better rounded team. But I think the way it is now, like obviously Hayes and Curran can play 60 to 80 minutes if needed. King plays 60 minutes. We've got a good enough team, I think, as it stands. I'll just be very interested to see what approach they have coming against us. Like, how do they think they're gonna, like, how do you think, Dibbo, from a third party perspective, how do you think they're gonna try and beat us? Where do you think
through the forwards? They're gonna have to try. I think their forwards are gonna have to make a mark. Like it's not for me. Liam Martin's gonna try hit someone. He's gonna have to try and put a shot on Preston or Kikau or for example Hayward or Fafita. Yo's going to want to try break this up the middle. Leota's going to try want to bully Max King, for example. Mitch Kenny's going to try want to have a quick dart up the middle. Papali'i and Smith really got something to prove because they're the odd ones out in that forward pack, basically. The others have all done and won it. So they really want to.
Do you think like second phase play for them is where it's at? Because I know like against the Warriors, one thing they did really well, especially Lindsay Smith, I thought
that's
played a lot like
Warriors,
Isaiah Yo. And Laurent Pateo really offloaded a lot. Yeah,
they gave them a lot of time. They watched them. They just underestimated them. It's going to be the forwards. The forwards are going to really, that's where it is. They want to bash you in the forwards.
They need to win the contact. I think that's that's the other thing. Yeah,
because if they don't win the contact, then your backline's going to really flourish.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 100%.
They know they really they're up against it in the forwards. They really know. They really know. They've got a torrid time. Torrid time.
I don't feel like either of us has a huge standout prop other than like them with Moses Leota, but I just don't feel like he's got this.
Look, you got to give your team the dues. They've been winning the forward battles this year, so that's where Penrith's got to, and they've won most of their games.
Yeah, they have. Honestly, they have. Yeah,
You know, it's not like, being within range of their forwards because our backline will do it. No, I don't think they really have that luxury. Like Blaze Talangi, Jenkins, McLean, they're all spring, they're all spring onions or whatever, spring chickens. They don't
Mm.
have the battle hardened in them in the experience.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. Yep. No, I
whereas
agree with that.
your boys are more seasoned. All of them: Tracy, Kiraz, Sherry, Crichton, Montoya, Burton, Sexton. The Penrith's got like 3 rookies pretty much in their team. Look at it: McLean, Jenkins, Talangi. They've been playing 2 seasons less each. Yeah.
Even like Liam
How old's
Henry and
McLean? 19, 20?
yeah, even Liam
Talangi's about the
Henry.
same age. Jenkins too. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, I was going to say Henry and Pate are also quite young themselves as well. So, they're not.
Yeah, forwards. They've got a big ask. It's a big ask. It's good for Penrith. They've won a few games. I really want to see them in the 8. Big ask
Yeah, I want to
for
see
the
them in there
full
as
team
well.
of the comp. Big ask. If they can knock his over here, it's huge for them. Huge.
Yeah,
Because
look,
it consolidates
I
the
think
top 8 spot if they can.
if they beat us, I think they definitely make the 8. I think if they definitely make the 8, but
I want them
I
to
reckon
make the 8. I don't want them to go out
we're
with a
gonna be their
whimper.
biggest challenge. Yeah,
I don't want
yeah,
them
I
to get.
agree.
You play 5 row grand final. Yes, you lost players, but they've maintained. I've hated how they've lost players every single year, and it's key players.
Yeah.
They couldn't. It's just
I want
like
them to
who's
make the
originally.
finals, and then I want them to make the finals. Then I want us to knock them out in the prelim.
I want them to win again.
Nah, for 5 in a
I
row.
want them to go 5 in a row, so they can. So Souths and Roosters can't talk about their 5 in a row anymore, 4 in a row, and then I want them to go 6 in a row. But for me, I think they're the greatest ever side ever. They're 4 in a row.
I'm with you.
It's in the modern professional era. They're better than the 11 in a row. For me, they're the best ever to do it. And I really hope they can do 5 in a row.
I want to respond to a comment made by Brian Dibb. So he said,
Is that your old sparring partner?
Nobody plays
here we go.
three props
That's
in
a good
modern
observation.
NRL.
That's actually interesting to see. Nobody plays because it's such a fast-paced game. What are your thoughts? I like what Brian's
disagree.
put out there. No, it's not that. Though. I like he's actually just put that out, regardless whether anyone agrees. It's just given a discussion point. Do you play a lock? Yeah.
If you look at our bench, right?
You need a prop off the bench.
Kurtman, Harry Hayes, Josh Curran, Lachlan Galvin. Neither of them are actual props. Josh Curran isn't a prop. Josh Curran plays that prop because we need him to, but he's not actually.
Do you like what he said then? You must like what he said then.
Which is?
That nobody plays 3 props in the modern NRL.
I disagree, though. I think that when you've got
maybe he means nobody starts 3 props, like out and out props. Like is Curran really an out and out prop for you? Be honest.
No, he's not bad, but like a lot of teams will have a prop playing at lock, and then they'll have 2 props starting. So, right?
Yeah, maybe he means that because before they used to sometimes I see props in the second row just to add that grunt and where there was a 10 or 15.
But I'm saying we only have. We only have 2 clear props. We only have 2 really real props.
That's what it probably means.
Daniel Suluka-Fafita and Max King. I think we need one more, whether it's Sam Hughes, Jack Todd.
But that's what he's on to. He reckons you got to go for more of a hybrid forward with a fast-paced game. How athletic it is.
Yeah, 100%. I'm not saying let's go get a big bopper. I'm just saying that you need
or a battering
ram, prop. Yeah,
for
example, like Harry Hayes and Josh Curran, they're more not utility, but they're second row lock. Like they're not out and out props that provide that line bending impact. You still need.
So he's made a good point
off the bench. He hasn't though. He's saying that you shouldn't have that. He's saying that the bench shouldn't have another.
No. I think I'll put up the comment again. I think he's saying nobody's putting pretty much 3 out and out props anymore. I think that's what he means. Nobody is. And look at Canterbury. Remember we said Canterbury last year probably led the way with that because they kept putting in small forwards or their bench pretty much like full forwards. Do you remember when South just put 4 props on the bench or Penrith under John Lane, for example?
Yeah, and I think like even if you look at like the Titans, they have too many props in their team. Like they keep buying props and trying to play the big game. I think they've just got too many props. I'm just saying that we need one more prop
And not
on the bench.
mobile. What was that?
One more prop. I think we need one more prop. One more prop on the bench. Just one more prop, like one more mobile style prop. But he plays directly in the middle.
Okay. Yeah, maybe 3. Yeah, okay. Or I don't know.
You know what
Depends
I mean?
if the props are really mobile. Look at Tino and, for example, Tarpany. They can play in the second row lock.
God.
For me, they're really locks or second rowers.
They are amazing though.
Like, you know, so it's probably, yeah. I think it's a good discussion point he's put up there, I reckon.
Yeah.
Something to consider. It's a very more faster, more athletic game.
Sorry, just give me a sec. Hang on a second. 1 sec, sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. I'll take that. I'll continue here. Anyways, back onto reserve grade. I was saying, you know, somebody's put up that Jack Todd's in reserves. How is Canterbury reserves looking these days? Somebody want to fill me in, basically, seeing Jack Todd's in reserves. Like, where's Canterbury sitting at? What are we expecting with Mitchell Woods? I saw him playing that New South Wales Cup there on Thursday, and I actually watched him closely and keenly. It was actually good. He took control of the team, a rep team, and he was the dominant player on the field, I thought. So he's got a good one in Mitchell Woods, and I'm actually excited. I'm actually curious seeing him in number 18 because, yeah, you got Galvin there, and now Woods is lurking. So both your starting halves at the moment about to be put somewhere else in the team. It just gets more and more interesting, basically. Yeah, it's good.
Woods,
I mean, if Woods is going to set the world alight next year, it'd be silly to keep him out of the 6 or 7. Yeah, especially if he's.
I think the problem with Woods is that he's only really played. Sorry, I think the problem with Woods is that he's only really played 1 or 2. I think it's only 2 New South Wales Cup games, and he's played.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm just saying it's nice to see him there, but it just gives gives you a view into the future. Like, hey, he's Woods. Great. And after watching him on Thursday, I know it was against other fellow 19-year-olds, but it was a dominant half on the field.
Yeah,
it was a dominant one.
I thought Cody Black was good too. The Queensland 7. I thought he was really good.
No, he was good, but I thought the dominant one was the 7 for New South Wales, and yeah, we went for the HIA. That was a big loss.
Norm Eaters made a good point. Actually, Dave as well has just made another good point. Norm Eater, surely Ciro knows how Cleary coaches. I think it's a great point that Cleary would probably have a little bit more insight as to how Cleary coaches, as opposed to Cleary having more insight as to how Ciraldo coaches. Because sort of, Ciraldo was in that inner fold with Cleary. So I think, like, the reason he's gone with this bench is because he thinks this is the way to neutralize the game plan of the Panthers. So someone's also mentioned here, sorry, I want to say it, how Ciro, it was Dave, he said how Ciro uses the bench is really important for this game. I agree 100%. I think that, getting Curran on early and not leaving Daniel Saluka Fafita out there vulnerable in defense will be really key to that. And then seeing where Hayes comes on to shore up the defense and then make those good incisive runs is also very important. The one that I think stands out for me is Kurt Mann. I think on the 25th or 26th minute, Kurt Mann will come on and you'll see him change the attack. I think that'll be, I reckon, that'll be such a big thing for how these games played. The one I'm interested in, I think the one I'm really interested in is, does Galvin only get 20 minutes? That's where I'm sort of really trying to figure out, does he give Galvin a little bit more time? And who makes way for that time?
I'll give him the whole second half if I have to.
But then who suffers? Is it Reid Marnie that only plays 20 minutes each half? Or
take off Sexton, or swap him with Marnie, on and off, whatever works. Yeah, I don't even put on. It depends how the game's going as well. I don't even put on Galvin in the first half with about 25th or 30th minute. Honestly, stuff that I'm throwing him in. I think he'll get at least 25 minutes, half hour. To be frank, Who cares?
I'm sort of
Ruthlessly just take a player off. Didn't sign him to
look.
sit on the bench.
He will. He's done it. Like he did it against the Eels, obviously with Reid
And he'll
Marnie.
do it again.
I think he
and
will
he'll
do it again. Yeah. And I just feel like
he's going to have that extra energy and legs, so will be a masterstroke.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. I think Channel E's made a good point. It depends if we can't unlock Penrith and need X factor. I think that's a big part of it too. If we're winning comfortably, I think that Ciro will have the luxury to throw him in wherever he wants to see him. But if we need that X factor, if Sexton's not producing, I think you'll see Sexton get hooked for Galvin. I think honestly, I think that's what it ultimately comes down to. Is the momentum.
I think just on that, I think what's your halfbacks? Burden will go to 7.
You think so?
Because he organises. Yeah, Burden will go to 7 because he organises the team better, and he'll give Galvin a free rein to run and do as he please. That's what will happen because he'll be at second receiver, more off the cuff out the back. I think Burden will unselfishly go play the 7, the conductor or the organiser role. That's what I think, and I think he'll I think it's better he kicks from first receiver than second receiver. That's how I see it. That because somebody was saying that Galvin will go to 7 and Burden will, and Sexton will go to 9. I think Burden will go to. I want to see Burden go to 7 and Galvin go to the 6, just to give that extra injection.
I don't know. So here's what I think. Right, here's what I saw against the Eels. I thought that against the Eels, Burden was told that this is your team. Burden was told that you are the chief playmaker, right? And you saw that in the way he played. Burden was everywhere with his running game, with his kicking game. Burden was, you could tell it was his team. What I think happens is they'll play right side, left side. I think that it'll be Galvin's decisions and how he plays on the right, and it'll be Burden's decisions on how he plays on the left. But I think they'll combine on the edges, right? So, like, I don't think that it's going to be like an exclusive 6 and 7. It may be like 2 6s playing alongside each other, so to speak. That's how I think. That's how I sort of see it. Because I just don't think that we play the way like traditional teams play, where they have to have a dominant 7. Because I don't think that overall Sexton has been like the dominant take control type 7. So that's why I think like Galvin will come on and just sort of be right side a little bit more, connect with Preston. Because against the Rabbitohs, I did feel like he played a lot more right side than Sexton did, and I thought we saw a lot of success there. We really hammered them down that right side until obviously the lightning stoppage habit or whatever.
Against the Eels,
against the Rabbitohs.
Oh, sorry, I misheard you there. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, what did I say? Rabbitohs. It was the Rabbitohs.
Yeah, we were blowing them away.
Just want to see him get the ball.
That's it. In saying that, honestly, I think this is one of the best teams we've put on paper. I think the only one that I think the only change that will happen is once Sitili Tupanua is back, I do see Daniel Suluka-Fafita dropping, and then potentially Josh Curran starting at prop and Sitili Tupanua coming off the bench playing in the middle. I think really that's the only difference. That's the
any
only change
props can force their way in.
Jack Todd, I think Jack Todd, if he has a good time, if he plays New South Wales Cup well, I think he will find himself in the team somewhere by the end of the year. Sam Hughes?
Not yet. Honestly, underdone this year.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought he would have already been chosen. I honestly probably would have had him there in place of Suluka-Fafita, even though he's a bit underdone. I love Suluka-Fafita.
Suluka-Fafita's been starting the game well.
He's been good. I think he's been good.
Hey, where's Lipai Hopoi?
He's another one that's been good. That also.
Where is he?
I'm pretty sure he's been named the New South Wales Cup.
What? Well, that fuck, like, really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean, they are top of the table.
This is
look, Salmon's not coming back. I think that's the.
This is a good question, latest. Jordan. When Salmon comes back, he does the.
Don't need him.
Where does he go? Though? Like, realistically speaking, who do you drop for Salmon? I don't see. I really don't see Hayes getting dropped. I don't see Curran being dropped. Neither Mann nor Haywood. You can't even think about dropping them. So who goes for Salmon? Look, I agree with you in that. Look, his value is sort of understated, but I just don't know where he would fit, realistically speaking. So I think it may be hard for Salmon to come back into this team if we're winning and we don't have injuries. Is sort of how I see it. But yeah, look, honestly, all being said, I can't wait until this game. Wallahi, like I've been thinking about this game quite a bit just while I'm at work. My mind's been a little preoccupied thinking, how's this going to happen? How's that going to happen?
Who they got next week?
Broncos.
Oh, Broncos. Sorry. Yeah, I was about to say, Jamie Teasdale already reminded us. We've been seeing Jamie. So Elmo put up the details of a Kennel podcast. Hopefully he doesn't change his mind. I did suggest Punch Bowl or Janas. Hey, why not, bro?
We could. Dibbo, let's have a bit of a chat about it. And what we'll do is we'll announce it next week on the podcast. After when we're celebrating the win against the Panthers, we'll announce we'll announce it on the podcast next week. Let's have
what
a bit
time's
of a chat.
The game? What do you do? Pre-game feed or post? Post game's probably too.
Well, I mean, it depends if they go into the game. The Dogs
pre-game feed.
It's a Friday 8 p.m. game. So we'll have to have a chat about it, me and you, and then we'll let
5:30 feed be there, or we can do Thursday. Jamie's adding for Thursday.
Quickly, Norm's just asked when is Sitili back. So Sitili Tupanua is back round 20, maybe come back round 19, just depending on how his recovery is going. But round 20 should be the worst of it, is what I've heard. Also, interestingly, Jacob Kiraz is listed on this as injured, even though we had the bye last week. Yeah, so I mean, he has been named. Which is good to see. And Blake Taff is the only one. They've got Rinakama there. So I guess if Jacob Kiraz was to be injured, it would have to either be Blake Taff or Rinakama that go. Replace him. So I think they're fairly confident that Jacob Kiraz will play.
Did you like the look of Rinakama on Thursday?
How good does he look? Just jumping for the high balls, running. I think he looks fantastic, man.
I loved him.
I'm such a fan.
I think St. George should sign him, not Cobbo. Anyways,
bro, honestly, Cobbo is not a bad player for you guys. But look, it's almost 9:30.
It's going to bite the coach. It's going to bite the coach in the ass. That's all I know. It's not about Cobbo, about how he always picks on Sloan and crushes his confidence. Not about his own. So you know what? Can I just make a point? I'm actually happy Sloan's going to another club because he needs to do something about his confidence. And I'll tell you now, he will do really good. He's got a lot of pace. For some reason, every time he plays the Melbourne Storm or the Broncos, he burns both those sides. I don't know why. But every other side, I don't know what happens. I hope he goes to a new club because he's a fantastic player. I hope he finds his confidence and just unlocks his game. Hopefully, Twain Bennett or somebody that's going to really bring the best out of him.
Yeah, I agree.
As much as I get the shits with him, I actually do call for him to go to another club because he is a first grader. It's just not happening for him at that club with that sort of coach and coaching setup. It's no good.
Look, I agree with you. I think he does need a change of scenery.
100%. I hope he gets a quick release. I hope he gets looked after too, man.
Eddie, I'm saying I think Rinakama is ahead of Sua already. I know it sounds weird, but I actually agree with you. I think Rinakama, the club looks at Rinakama very highly, and he's probably there.
Is that Jonathan Sua?
Yeah.
I think he's got way more pace as well than Sua.
Yeah, he just looks like he's taller. I think he's taller. There's just so much there about it. So yeah, look, I'm very excited about the game. I cannot wait to see you guys, talk to you guys about the game. Look, this week I might try something different because the game is on Thursday and it's like 5 days away from before the Tuesday. I may put up a game review on Saturday morning, or maybe go live at Saturday at midday, just to be able to review the game together. Because I don't want to wait to Tuesday to review the game that happened 5 days ago. It just feels like there's so much happens in between that it sort of feels like it's tough to review the game on a Tuesday, 5 days after it's happened. So I might go live early on a Saturday or at midday.
I might just give a tip. don't get there 10 or 15 minutes before the game and line up because it seems to queue outside CommBank. And I've been to CommBank this year at least half a dozen times, maybe about almost a dozen games this year. Try to get there about half an hour before. Don't try to drive there and find parking 2 minutes away or 5 or 10 minutes away. I'll recommend maybe park it somewhere in a nearby suburb 10 minutes away or 5-minute drive and catch an Uber over. Uber will cost you about $11, $12. Make sure you remember where your car is. And then catch the Uber back because the Uber will drop you off right in front of the stadium. You can just hop off there and walk in. Don't leave it to the last minute. I'm just telling you from my own personal experiences.
I agree, 100%.
All right. Generally, I'll park at Maze Hill and then catch the Uber. If we don't have reserved parking inside, I normally, because they don't give it to you every game, I park somewhere in Maze Hill. There's plenty of parking there. There's a park around there. You can park in the parking there and just catch the Uber up. $11 or $12. Once it cost me $7. Honestly, hassle-free. Let your Uber driver do all the stressing. You just chillax, get there about half an hour before the game, and then by the time you get in, there's about 20 minutes to go. You can get your drink, your food, whatever it is. It's a great stadium.
I try to do that as often as I can at every game that I go to. I try and park far and just catch an Uber in as much as I can.
Yeah.
Not far, but it's not exactly
smart thing to do.
Yeah, because I'm just so over getting to a stadium. You leave 2 hours, bro. There are times where I'll go to Accor. We go there.
Horrible place for parking.
It's just ridiculous, bro.
Like even the hockey center's parking's all gone. Horrible.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Anyway, so so Dave said if we are behind, Reed will play 40 minutes, then Sexton will go to 9, Gavel to 7, Burden and moving at all Debo. Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree with that. I think that Birdo is the rock, is the foundation we need, especially with his kicking game. I think everybody else is malleable.
Oh, if you're behind, obviously.
Only one.
If he's behind, I don't think he's gonna. Yeah, all right. Yeah, so of course, if you're behind,
I think even when we're in front, I think Burden is the rock.
I don't know.
Everybody else around him is malleable. That's what I genuinely.
It's gonna be a strange one to see because they both they both know each other's game. Well, I mean,
yeah.
Seralda came from that system. You know, he knows what Penrith are. The players. If you think about it, that's pretty much the whole Penrith starting lineup from the grand finals past, minus Fisher Harris involved in this game. Because you guys got like 3 or 4 of them if you count 7. And then they got the rest minus Fisher Harris. Like Appy's not playing there, but that's about it. But they know each other's game. It's like a reunion of sorts. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
It's just who's going to get, I still think Canterbury get the upper hand in the forward, especially with the inexperience.
I think we're a level above because of the experience that we've got and because of the way we've been playing and because of the way the Panthers have been playing. I will tell you another thing, right? Blaise Talangi has a missed tackle in him. I think we're going to target a particular side and I think like Casey McLean, Blaise Talangi, Thomas Jenkins are going to be the ones that we go after. With that, look, we're at 9:30. Do you have a couple of minutes, Dibbo, just to quickly do some tips for the upcoming week, or do you want to call it a night?
Of course. Bloody oath. Go for it.
All right, I'll go very quickly, I promise.
Take your time with it.
I'm so excited, guys. What I have done is if you go to the Kennel Podcast Instagram, I've started the broadcast channel where I put messages in there consistently 3-4 times a day, just about news, about new content that I'm creating, inviting people in. So please join the Kennel Podcast broadcast channel. I will be opening up every now and again after the game just to have a chat so we can all discuss the game in there together. So please, if you haven't, go follow us on Instagram and join the broadcast channel. It'll be heaps great because we're going to have great discussions in there. And so with that quickly, I want to talk about the games. Look, we've already said Dogs are going to win by 50 against the Panthers on Thursday night. Friday at 6 p.m. at Four Pines Park, we've got the Tigers and the Sea Eagles. Look, I'm tipping the Tigers to have a really strong win.
Oh, Tom Trbojevic back in the centres.
Yeah, they've got Tom Trbojevic
in the knocking himself out.
They got Leo Hapawadi at fullback. What I find interesting is Matthew Lodge is starting at prop here. alongside Sesua Taukeiaho. Corey Waddell starting, and then their bench is Baltimore Brown, Sipley, and Jake Simpkin. Jason Saab has been dropped.
Far out.
For
Jason Saab dropped. Well, is he injured?
Yeah, no, he's dropped. He's named. He's dropped. He was dropped after that loss. Remember against the Titans. So they had that loss against the Titans.
His stepdad should make an excuse. The training's too far from Maryland. Maybe go to a new club now, Parramatta or something. I don't know. I'm inclined to go to Tigers. I'm just looking at Manly's lineup. Man, Tigers should have won last week.
Oh, I agree 100%. I think what I like about this team, like the Tigers,
I should have beaten Canberra. That was insane how they came back, and they should have won. I'm going to go Tigers by 8. I think Manly's season will be over after this loss.
Yeah, I think it's a great shout. And what I do want to point out,
they're playing out of their skin without winning.
They put Latu Fainu at 7, and they've got Jerome Luai at 6. I think that is the optimal choice. That is fantastic. So Bulla is injured. Heath Mason was playing there at fullback. And so I think Latu Fainu and Jerome Luai 6 and 7, or 7 and 6 respectively. I think it's fantastic. Jack Bird at second row. I like that. And then the bench is Tony Sukkar, Sione Fainu, Alex Seifert, Talon De Silva. Honestly, it's a good team. If they don't win this, I reckon they'll come close to getting the spoon, because they have to win this.
Yeah, they got to start winning. I think I'm going to go Tigers by 8.
Yeah,
I hope it's the time I get them right. Anyways,
I'm going to go Tigers 13 plus.
Here's the Knights now with a few injuries all of a sudden. Somehow jagged the win as well. That was their best win in about 3 years.
Bradman Best was a wahash. Bradman Best.
Yeah, what a player, eh? He was my man of the match. Was he yours? It was a difference. I gave it. Or Lucas. Lucas was good. I gave it to Bradman Best. I just thought he did well. Like he did everything right. Look who's there. Jackson Hastings.
Yeah.
How good is that?
He's
unfortunate what happened to Fletcher Sharp, because he's had a gun of a season.
Unbelievable, man. He's got a. I
don't know why, but Fletcher Sharp reminds me of Gary Ablett Senior. That hairdo and just the way he walks and looks and carries himself. Doesn't look much and absolutely kills it. If anyone watched the AFL back in the day, it's Gary Ablett Senior. Probably the greatest player of all time, in my opinion, but looks the same. I hope he doesn't abuse drugs the same, or does other things off the field the same. But it's just got that aura about him. Like, look at him. He's not an Adonis, his body, and Gary Ablett wasn't either. But wow, what a talent that Fletcher Sharp is. And so was Gary Ablett.
Amazing. I actually thought he was close to my man of the match, but I couldn't look past Bradman Best. I thought he was the difference for them.
Yeah, Bradman Best for me was mine. Yeah, he was mine. I don't know, man. This one's a tough one, because Newcastle had a great win. Some of the players now, after one win, seem to be playing with some self-belief. But they did lose to St. George the other week. I don't know. It's a tough one, because Canberra were very ordinary against the Tigers.
I'll be honest with you. I really wanted to go Newcastle, but the fact that Fletcher Hunt isn't playing, it's going to be hard.
But you're playing it safe. Yeah.
Look, I'm going to tip the Knights just because I really want the Knights to win. But
they got a decent lineup. I don't know how they're just Coach Paul, or just that coach, man. Him and his crappy tactics, or wow, he does. I'm happy. You know what? I bet Canberra were horrible last week. They're going to lose one eventually, don't they?
Yeah, and
can you scroll down? I just want to see the forwards. Sorry, man.
Yeah,
what a player. Keep going. I want to see the bench. Far out. Tough one. Look at Newcastle's looking better all of a sudden.
Yeah, much better.
I'm going to go Newcastle. I'm going to go Newcastle.
Yeah, I'm going Newcastle. I'm going Newcastle by 6.
Yeah, I'm going with the same margin as the last one. I'm going by 8. I think Canberra will have a loss that wakes them up. Did Stewart put his son in again? Oh, bloody hell. No Hudson Young, so I'm actually glad I tipped the... I'm actually glad. And, there's no Matt Nicholson either, but I'm actually glad I tipped the Knights. I think they'll get it by 8.
Just quickly, George V. Musing was... he was at the Dolphins Knights game in Perth. It was a great game. What was the atmosphere like? And being over there in Perth, what's the view on the Perth Bears? Are the Perth people excited about the Perth Bears coming into the competition? But yeah, I'm with you, man. I think the Knights will upset. I don't know why. I just think that the Raiders are gonna start getting tired. I know that people are saying they're going great, but they're just too it's very inexperienced team, and I think it's gonna get to them. 3 p.m. Saturday, Broncos v Warriors. Good teams, both good teams named.
Where's Cobo playing?
Want,
21st man?
He's not. Yeah, he's not playing. He's still on the extended bench. He's on the extended bench. I think that the Warriors. I think the Warriors are going to pump the Broncos. I think they're going to put on a score. I always look at, people want to blow smoke up the Broncos' ass. When they come up against the good team, the Broncos buckle. Except that one time against the Bulldogs. I just think that the Warriors, after that loss to the Panthers, will be out for some revenge. My only caveat is that Luke Metcalf may be injured, and I'm just worried that he's going in underdone. If he's not, Waz by plenty. Honestly, if Luke Metcalf is fine, I'm going to say Waz by a lot, and the Broncos are going to be exposed. That first half really showed to me how bad the Broncos are, and that second half really showed how bad the Sharks are. And I think they're both equally shit. The Broncos just a little bit, the Donkeys a little bit more shit than the Sharks. But I'm going to say Waz 13 plus. What do you think?
I'm going to go Broncos by 12. I think the Warriors will have back-to-back losses.
Fair, I doubt it, but fair. Then you got the Dragons against the Eels, 5:30 p.m. Wynn Stadium.
What's happened to Will Penasini? Suspended. Riley Smith out. Far out.
Yeah, both suspended.
Smith was injured, eh? He got injured in the game. Ands is a good addition.
Smith was suspended. Yeah, Smith and Riley both. Smith and Penasini both suspended. Dylan Brown is back.
Hawkins, I thought Hawkins was their best player on. Or I thought he would have got.
Yeah, Hawkins was great. Yeah, Hawkins was great. I'm telling you, he's been playing very well.
Lomax was, Isaiah Longy was great too.
But Corey Allen and Christian Tuipulotu, I think they add a lot to the Dragons. Tuipulotu and Allen as wingers, I think they add a lot.
Gula, tough one this one because they've already been in the Dragons this year, and that Kiriona Katoga's had some good moments this year.
Carl Flanagan is Jack still Williams. There, bro. I'm a Doggy supporter, and that frustrates me.
Yeah, I don't. Looking at that, I don't think they'll win. And I think Fafita's playing for his first game this year. Kept getting injured. Yeah,
Fafita is, yeah.
Who goes to reserve grade and gets suspended 4 times in 1 year for a total, I think, 13 weeks? The guy ruined his season last year and then got injured this year. That's the guy that's on the bench for St. George. I don't know why.
He's a wahash.
Are they going to look at Para? They're finding their straps. Does St. George get home because of hot hometown advantage?
I'm gonna say Dragons by 12.
Or do we go Parramatta in a close one? It's going to be a close game for me either way.
Nah, I reckon Dragons by 12. Sewer's back. The Bellon's still playing good. Catchman's there.
I'm going to go St. George because obviously it's a bit of bias here. I'm going to go St. George by 4 points because I actually was going to tip Para by 4.
I reckon St. George will win by 10.
And don't forget, if Will Penasini and Riley Smith were playing, it's more reason to tip Para. And obviously Mitchell Moses is not there today. Or this weekend. If Moses was playing, I'll tell you 100% I'd be tipping Para. No.
Yeah, I would be too. No
looking back.
Just quickly.
Here we go. Cronulla already beat Melbourne. Yeah, go on.
George V. Musing, the stadium was half full, and yes, there was a lot of cheering when they were calling out Perth Bears. There were a lot of Dolphin supporters there, but I think they'll get 20,000 games. Look, that's great. I'm a big fan of of the Perth Bears and Perth team in general. So it's really good to see that it's this steadily building support. And I think marketing for the Perth Bears, once they have a logo, once they have a marquee signing, once they have all their ducks in a row, I think there'll be a lot more marketing, and you'll see the hype start to ramp up. But if there's already hype there, it's great to see. I'm gonna tip Melbourne. Because it is at Amy Park, I'm going to tip Melbourne by a big score. I just don't see the Sharks coming back from that. I think Nico Hines is just on his sort of...
His own fans are killing him. That's just so...
Unfortunately.
I hate when that happens. I don't know. Cronulla's another tough one. They lose the other week. They win uninspiringly against St. George. They capitulate against Brisbane. They beat Melbourne this year already when no one expected them to beat Melbourne.
In a great win, yeah.
After a crappy loss the previous week. I'm going to go Melbourne because Cronulla's not a bad team. I don't want them to make the 8, so I'm still going to go Melbourne by 8. Hopefully Cronulla lose again. I don't want them to make the 8.
Yeah, I think Melbourne by
Even
plenty.
though I think they'll be there, they're too good. They've got too many good players. I don't know what's happening. Melbourne by 8. Hopefully they'll make Cronulla lose.
I think Melbourne by plenty. It'll be good to see Cronulla win, just because I want Melbourne to lose.
I think they'll be in the 8 as well. There's just some sides that I don't know. They're not there yet to make the 8. Anyway, it's probably early to talk now, but that's how I feel.
I think the preview of the Spoon Bowl, Titans and Cowboys up at Citybus Super Stadium.
I'll get the Cowboys winning this. They're due to win one. They've been horrible.
So he has.
And Drinkwater was horrible at halfback. Never again.
Jake Clifford and Tom Dearden are the halves combination again. Purdue has gone back to center, so that experiment has failed. Tamalolo is still out.
I'm just having a look. Couldn't they start Griffith Neem for once? I want to see how he is starting.
They started last week.
Cowboys were dreadful. I mean, not Cowboys. They were dreadful, the Cowboys, but Gold Coast were dreadful against Para.
The Gold Coast were
honestly. Like, Tino, go back to Melbourne, please. Or sign.
Yeah, honestly.
Sign for Para or someone. You know, it looked like Para wanted him bad to play.
Sign for any team, but not the Titans, honestly.
Somebody offer him the bank, honestly. Leave Tino. Go to Melbourne or somewhere. Remember him at Melbourne? Wow.
I mean, he's still great here.
He's still one of my favourite players. I love him. I'm gonna go Cowboys. Gold Coast is just dreadful. Screw them. Who's on? Who they got on the back line? Sorry, I've already seen the.
Yeah, AJ, Pereira, Fafita, Sammy.
Fitzgibbon needs to get more involved. Like, he's done and all, but he's not doing enough on the fringes. He's got to run the ball more. Anyways,
look,
no Campbell.
This is a toss up for me. Yeah, he's out with the HIA.
Yep. Tough one, but Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Cowboys. Cowboys by 12.
Tough one, but Cowboys.
Cowboys
Gold
by 12
Coast, honestly.
Do you know why? Because when the Gold Coast lose, they never lose by 2 points. They always lose by big margins. They just don't know how
last versus second last. You'd think they would have given a better account of themselves.
Yeah.
They were dreadful.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I know it was away from home, but it's like Parrell's missing players. They're missing their halfback, for God's sake.
Yeah. So I'm going to go Cowboys with you, even though I want the Titans to win. I think Cowboys will...
Cowboys by 14.
Yeah. 14-12. I think it's a good shout.
Next game.
That's it. Roosters on
all right, then that means... Well, hang on a sec. Souths is not playing? And the Roosters?
Oh, did I miss one?
Is there 3 sides having a bye? Souths,
No.
Roosters.
Sorry, I missed Souths and Dolphins. Sorry. I was
about to say the other Brisbane team, but all right, who we got in this one? Hang on a sec. Aren't Dolphins now missing a few players?
No, actually, they get a few back.
Oh, what about Souths? Is Dodd playing in the 5'8" position, or has he been hooked again for the 19th time this year?
Yeah, he's been hooked again. Cody Walker's back. Campbell Graham's back.
Cody's back. Your favourite,
yeah.
Cody Walker. Make sure you send him a postcard.
Mamazoulis is back. Hubner's back.
Oh, the boys are back. The troops are back. We got the band back together.
The boys are back. So,
where's this game at?
Suncorp.
Oh, far out.
7:50 p.m.
You know what? I don't give a shit. This is a bold tip. And Dolphins had such a bad loss last round after they were killing everyone. They're going to lose again. I'm going to go South. Souths are playing decent without winning.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying they're setting the world alight, but, you know, they're doing better than... I don't know how South is in 15th. Are they in 15th? Yeah. How are they in 15th? They're more like about... They should be about 10th or 9th. Have they only had one bye, have they? You know what? I'm glad buys next year won't be worth any points.
Well, they haven't confirmed that yet.
Man, 3 buys is too many.
Yeah, way too many.
Make it one buy. Oh, sorry, just have no one playing. Give them a rest.
Anyway, yeah, I'm calling Rabbitohs. I'm calling Rabbitohs by 12 points. AJ, Alex Johnson to get a brace is going to score 2 tries.
I hope he breaks the record this year because I want to.
Oh, he
I hope
will.
I hope he ties the record in one of the games, and then I can go to all the remaining games, so I can run on the field like an idiot. I thought they were going to run on the field for 200 tries. Honestly,
Nah,
everyone
they
sat
should
there
run on
with,
the field for when he breaks the record.
yeah, but I would have ran on the field, because 200 tries in NRL is like somebody kicked 1,000 goals in the AFL.
You will not believe this. You will not believe this. Rabbitohs are 16th.
That is insane. That is BS.
Yeah.
They honestly, they're good enough to make the challenge for an 8th position, like the fringe of
They've
the
only
8th.
had one bye. They've only had one bye.
There you go. So really, okay, good. I hope they win, man. Honestly, they're better than 16th. It's a lot of BS.
Do you know if they had one more bye?
Yeah.
If they only had one more bye,
that'd be 9th.
They would be.
Oh, let's say they had all 3
They
buys.
would be equal 9th.
They'd be in the top 8 then.
Or
about 8th. Let's just say 8th. They're a better side than people make them out.
If they only had one more bye, if they only had one more bye, they would be 11th or 12th.
So it's not a bad thing,
No.
Maybe, it keeps teams hidden how good they're actually going.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, and with that, we have been on for quite a while. I really appreciate all you guys. I love you all guys for being on here. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know we got a little bit off topic, talking about the donkeys and talking about some other things, talking about whatever. But I love,
that was a good chat.
I love all your support. I love all the time you guys give us. I love you, Dibbo. I really, really look forward to this game on Thursday. If you haven't, please be sure to join the Kennel Instagram discussions. And let's talk in there. To everyone, look out for my review. It will come out early this week. I'm not going to wait until next Tuesday to put up a review. I just feel like it loses a lot of its value if it's too late after the game. Jamie, $5 super chat. You fucking legend. Have a good one, boys. Pleasure's always into the next one. Jamie, I might hit you up. Let's see how we go. Let's do a meetup sometime next week. I'll let everybody know what the situation is, and we're gonna have a proper meetup at like towards the end of the year. Maury will let you know early, I promise. In case you do ever want to come to Sydney for the meetup, we'll organize something.
I think isn't Morris in Sydney?
No, I'm pretty sure he's out of state.
Where, New Zealand?
I'm not sure. Where are you from, Morris?
I thought he was a Sydney sider. There you go. He'll be there. I hope he's not pulling my leg.
No, well, I mean, we'll organize something. Oh, he's in Canberra. That's not too bad. No, that's not too bad. We'll definitely give you a heads up, bro. We'll give everyone a heads up. We'll organize something and make sure, we're all having a bit of a laugh and we get together and just meet in person so we can talk some shit together. With that, thank you very much. It's been a great, great night. Love talking footy. I think the Dogs are going to do well. It's going to be a great weekend of footy. And then, Origin teams get named and shit. So I'm so excited. There's a lot happening. I love you all. Have a great night, Dibbo. Have a good night. Over and out. See you, everyone.